All right, we're live, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of my game of Dungeons and Dragons. We're gonna play it with three people that you already know. We're gonna play it with John, Jonas, and Phil. And Kevin has also decided to join us, so that we have a nice four-group party that's gonna have some adventures. We're gonna play in.
It's Kyle.
Okay, mine's like Kyle. Sorry, Kyle. I'm with a K. Kyle. Sorry, man, Kyle. Welcome. We're gonna play in a game setting that I invented myself, created myself. They're gonna play in the Kingdom of Albus, and the group of characters are all adopted by a ranger. There is this ranger is an old hero, and he's well known throughout the area. He's considered to be somewhat of a noble, though he's not. But because he's so wealthy and so well known, that he lives close to a relatively small village, which considers him to be their patron. And he has pretty much adopted the four characters at different times. Some might be close, some might be years between them. To gather them to kind of share in his knowledge and his wealth, educating them not just in, well, being a human, but also trying to continue their education of the past that they might have already started. Some of them have stayed close to nature. Others have gone into different roads. So we're gonna start off there, and I think it might be good for all the players to shortly introduce their characters and maybe themselves for a short moment. So, all right, John, go ahead.
Hi, I'm John. No, I'm playing Balin Wardlow, ward of obviously Roland Wardlow. Balin was the first of the orphans to be taken under his wing. He's in his 30s, so he's actually out of the house and doing things. He works as a guard, usually taking the wagons to the north to trade with the dwarves, usually protecting them. They're really kind of a cushy, easy job, as nothing really happens, but it does pay the bills, and he makes sure to go back and visit Father Roland whenever he gets a chance, and to meet the other wards that are there. But he is slightly out of touch with them, as they're all a lot younger than he is, and he's already left the house when some of them were actually brought in. So, but he takes on a older brotherly kind of I know what's best, even though he might not, attitude with them as he moves around. He's a skilled fighter, though he's trained by his father, who's a ranger, and he's really good with the bow and throwing weapons. Not much of a hand-to-hand fighter, though he does have a really nice dwarven-made rapier that was given to him that he uses with pretty good efficiency, though he would rather not get into any type of melee scraps. Along his travels and over the years, he did pick up the nickname Strongbow that a caravan guards had placed on him as he shot some deer from the back of the wagon for dinner one day. Had nothing to do with fighting or anything, as there was no fighting to be had, but it was still a fine shot, and they were impressed with his ability. In his youth, he was kind of a rebel rouser. He has a past of being angry. He's quick to get upset and angry, but generally speaking, he's learned to kind of control that over his past 10, 15 years. And that's why he became a fighter in the first place. That discipline of the sword, discipline of the bow. And he resorts back to that whenever he seems to get angry. So anyone else can go next?
Yeah, absolutely. Jonas, why don't you go ahead?
Okay. Well, I'm going to be playing a ranger character, a rather young person, something like a 19-year-old half orc that his picture right there. His name is Musk. He's a rather misanthropic personality. He has very little care for humans, mostly humans, out of all the intelligent races, as it were, and that's actually his preferred enemy is humans. He kind of has a specific hatred for them as these kind of mask-wearing kind of half-hearted kind of deceptful, kind of backstabby, kind of Machiavellian schemer kind of people. That's how he views humans, and he himself prefers the wild for its simplicity and ruthlessness and savagery. And yeah, he's pretty good with the bow. He's quite the merchant. He makes his living by selling pelts and bones and tusks and horns and whatnot he gathers from his kills. He spends most of his time in the wild, preferring solidarity to the company of others, although being kind of a merchant by heart, and that's where kind of his values lie in gold and in making it big in terms of money. He's drawn to adventure, and he's drawn to his compatriots in the villa that they all kind of live in by basically the opportunity to make monetary gains, make that dollar. So yeah, that's Musk.
All right, Kyle, would you be so kind?
Yeah, sure. I will be playing Rhodes this game. He's rather young for his his half elf growing stages. He's you all know he carries a weapon on him at all times, and but you more likely to see a book in his hand than a weapon. He usually spends his time as much as he can out into the woods, like meditating or just enjoying the peaceful, more calm parts of the woods. He makes his living mainly by going into town. He'll help out with this merchant or not merchant, but either at the smithy or possibly at the general store, wherever help is needed. And he'll buy a book, some food, and head right back out as soon as possible. He has a longer hair, and he tends to hide his longer elf ears. If they stick out a bit, below the longer hair, he pushes it down if he can. He wears like a leather tunic under his just a longer jacket shirt form thing here. But yeah, that's all for me there.
All right, and last but not least, Phil. Phil?
Okay, I will be playing the wood elf, named Rayla, otherwise known as Ray to her compatriots, her adopted family, quite a quiet individual, keeps to herself. She is one who, much like Musk and the rest, they feel more at home in the woods, in the wild, amongst the trees, where she may be whispered to by nature's ear and listen to those ancient secrets. However, be that as it may, her hermitage is both self-imposed and a part of her feeling alienated most of her existence, for she is the only one of her kind for the most part out here in these woods, in these parts, as far as she knows. And in doing so, she has opted for the solitude from time to time. Contact with those of the human make tend to pose not too many issues, but one must always strive to find serenity and peace, something that she has trouble with nowadays. The thoughts of her home burnt by the hands of goblins burn deeply in her mind. She struggles with this. She has a dark raven hair, very pale skin, very fine, with bright green eyes for her iris. She wears a pretty normal set of clothing, though it is a mixture of greens and blues that are cobbled together in a stylish fashion. Though, despite the fact that she keeps up with her looks and such, she doesn't much make for conversation for the most part, though you get the feeling that there is a certain glimmer of that charisma about her, though it is never built up to its potential at all. And that's it for the time being.
All right, excellent. So all the characters live in, as I said, the small kingdom of Albus. The mansion of their adopted father, Roland, is about 2 hours or so removed from the village where they spend most of their time. It's called the village of By River, and this village is pretty much a gateway from the mountains that are more into the north. Much of the resources and stuff that the dwarves mine there is brought through By River and then passed down the river to the capital of the city, where it is a large, well, not a large village, but it's a small city. The kingdom itself is not very big, but there they transport the goods towards the rest of the world. The characters themselves haven't been outside of the world so much, but they mostly dealt with things inside. The thing that marks this this kingdom is that there is a large population of goblins. Mostly the entire kingdom is covered by woods, and the goblins rule there. They are ungoblin-like organized. They have a king, and that king has several lords under him, and they seem to be holding on to this power structure, which is, as far as everybody in the world knows, very uncommon for goblins. And but they seem to thrive, and the goblins seem to be better equipped, even smarter to some extent, than the basic goblins that everybody knows and loves to bash. So as we pick up our story, the characters are all somewhat gathered, and they're gathered for a special occasion, namely the fact that it's going to be their father's birthday, and he's going to turn 70, which is old even for D&D standards, and he's a human, so he's an old man, and he's not looking forward to the feast. But it is known that the village of Bywater has created a festival to mark this special occasion, and to kind of make a clear statement how important Roland is to their population, to their community, and that sort of thing. So you've all been gathered and at your father's villa, and you are all sitting at the table as your father kind of walks in. He isn't like walking like an old man, like bent over and that sort of stuff, but it's clear that his muscles are no longer as strong and as graceful as they used to be. But he is clearly a man that has at one point functioned at the peak of his physical capabilities, but it's been downhill for a while now. So as he walks in, he looks at the large table where you guys are sitting at, and chit-chatting a bit with each other as he smiles and says, "So good to see all of you here again. We see each other so very little. I see now and then a few of you here and there, but it's rare that we come together like a family. Thank you all for coming." He looks at all of you and kind of walks and sits at the table as well and says, he holds up a piece of paper and says, "I've gotten a message from Barry River, and they invited me to come over there in 2 days." He kind of pushes the paper over the table, kind of in the midst where you guys are kind of sitting in a semi-square at the table, kind of allowing you to pick up the paper to read it.
I immediately grab it.
You grab it, and you see that the paper is it's high quality paper, which is uncommon for By River. They're not a high quality kind of village, and it's clear that they've put time and effort into this, because the letters are beautifully decorated and that sort of stuff. And it's a letter, surprisingly enough, addressed to your father, where they invite him to come and celebrate his 70th birthday, where they would like to honor him, and they have a gift that they would like to give him. And as you read it, you kind of your eyes kind of look over the letter as you're looking at it, and you see Roland kind of look tired, and he's not a man who is who's egocentric or has a big ego. He kind of likes to downplay what he does for the village, but it is, as you know, and as everybody knows, it is considerate. He's a wealthy man. You don't really know how wealthy, but much of his wealth has already gone towards the village of Byra.
I look up from that and slide it over towards Ray, who just happens to be on my right, on the table so that she can read it. And I look over and, "Father, this is good news. You deserve to have this honor. You've done so much for the town and the surrounding woods."
Yes, no doubt they would wish to honor you, of course, in your traditions. As she has her eyes sort of like glaze over the letter in question, she then gently puts it down and then slides it over towards Musk.
While this is all going on, Musk will most likely be eating like a greasy chicken or something with his fingers, with his grease all over his beard, kind of just kind of griming away. And when the paper comes, he kind of just looks to the person next to him on the other side to grab it instead of him. He just kind of looks at it with kind of drool dripping from his lower lip, kind of.
I'll go ahead and grab the paper, from very carefully away from him, almost sliding it, trying to avoid grease. I'm gonna open it up and look over it as I, begin reading it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as I set it down, I looked to Father and was like, "This is good news, but have they done this before, Father? I don't recall."
No, well, I've been given several symbolic statuses inside of the village, but it's all just they try to convince me and try to show me their gratitude, but that's not why I do it. It's people can use a hand, and I'm in a position to help. So, but well, it's clear he kind of looks at the paper what's lying on the table, and he says, "It's clear that they've put a lot of effort into this, and well, as much as I don't feel like going, he kind of looks at the four of you. I would say that etiquette kind of dictates that I have. Don't you agree?"
The party's a party. Yeah, they want people to come there and spend gold on beer and food and shit. If they want to throw an order on top of that, why hell not?
I don't disagree with Musk, Father. It makes sense for once.
I didn't quite understand him through all the food there.
Well, then I suppose I should go and attend this feast. He kind of again looks at the four of you. I would feel more comfortable if the four of you were present there as well. Would you consider coming as well?
Of course.
Of course, Father. We would never allow you to go by yourself.
I got some pelts to sell at the same time. Why not?
Rayla kind of stiffens up as he says that, and looks down at her plate and grabs a small little apple and takes a small bite of it as she looks up at him. Yes, of course. We shall head down to the town with you, accompany you, and partake of these festivities.
Good. That will make it more tolerable for me. Thank you, all of you. Is there enough food for you there, Musk?
At the point when he's starting to crunch ribs and start, and he'll just like grab something else, just munch away, not paying too much attention to everybody else.
Good. He stands up and smiles at all of you and says, I haven't seen you all as frequent, but I hope you're all keeping up with your studies and doing what you can to make this world a better place.
Indeed. There are many things that the town requires. So many things that they require.
Good.
And like she says this with like a drawn, pursed mouth, showing a bit of signs of annoyance over the many times she's probably been asked to, hey, help me out here with this here cow right there. It ain't doing nothing right here. And she may have to go out there and assist in this. And those memories flash back in her mind, and perhaps in a lot of ways this is reflected upon her expression.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. Well, I'll leave you all to whatever it is you desire to do. I hope we can have breakfast tomorrow morning, the five of us. I'd like to hear what you've all been doing.
Rayla gives
Oops, sorry. Okay.
Rayla just gives a slight nod to this as well, as she doesn't really say anything, but just that nod.
Yeah, and as Father stands up, I also stand up like immediately, almost kicking my chair back. Oh, of course, Father, we'll be here in the morning.
Good.
Yeah.
He turns around and walks off. It's somewhat in the late afternoon, beginning of the evening. So, as you're sitting all there, you most of you have finished your evening meal, and you're free to roam around as you wish.
As Father walks away, I spin the chair around, putting it backwards against the table, and then kind of straddle it, and just kind of like cross my arms in front of me, leaning forward. So, What have you all been up to? I haven't seen you in several months.
Well, I've just been passing town to town around these parts, just doing a little bit of trading, helping around a bit. Not really much.
Grabbed a couple of pelts from the frontier. Rabbits and wolves and whatnot. Ready to go make my coin by river. See if Curtis is up to giving me something good. Gonna need to upgrade my gear a little bit for next range and
What about you, Ray?
I've just concluded myself to my studies in the woods. However, there are many times that the townsfolk require aid, guidance through the forests, as well as the occasional mishap with one of their beasts of burden. The goblin activity has been less frequent during this time.
they're giving you shit.
No, but some of the townsfolk tend to go inside the woods too deep. They tread off the path, and then they get lost.
Stupid shits. Fucking goblins will suck their bones dry.
Now, to be honest, I would like to maybe engage in anything. I thought being a caravan guard, I'd run into some trouble, but it's been 3 years now. We haven't had a peep. No bandits, no goblins. Probably partly to the dwarves in that area, but be nice to come across a small group of goblins. What was that,
You
like
may-
3-4 years ago where we ran across those goblins and we took them down? That was fun.
I remember.
Yes,
Still got a tooth from there.
you may end up getting your wish very soon.
How you reckon?
Well, there isn't much. She kind of looks up as if she's choosing her words. Not much time left for him, I would imagine. Soon he will pass. And when
You
word
reckon
gets
the
out,
goblins will make a move?
yes. Their reputation, the reputation of our father, has preceded much of this kingdom. The land knows him as a hero, and a legend he shall be when he does pass on. But this will also be the time that the goblins will make their move. It is much similar to how a wolf pack functions. When the alpha grows weak and tired, he will be challenged by the second, and they will have to fight for territory. The alpha cannot wait forever, and he will soon be replaced. It'll only be a matter of time.
Well, if the goblins start to lay sieges on Briar River or any of the other towns here, Moonwell's interests lie there. They won't send any reinforcements to make sure the goblins don't take Briar River. Then the situation is all fucked. Preemptive strike might be something. Take those fucking greenskins out once and for all before smoke even starts to rumble.
You know, Father always warned us about going up against the Kamens. There's not enough of us.
He's a soft-hearted fool, as I say.
Soft-hearted enough to take in a half-orc child, perhaps?
Well, that was his mistake.
Nonetheless, we did give our word to him that we would not.
I would say that our reputations are growing. Your pelt business is booming. They're being sold all over. You know, Edwards.
Gladly go and sell a few green pelts as well.
Well, if there was a bounty on their ears, we probably could. But until that happens,
Well, I am one to break my word. If Pa wants us not to engage the fucks, then we won't.
doesn't mean that we can't be prepared and ready. When they do step out of line, we'll put them back. And if Father doesn't feel up to it or he doesn't want to do it, then we will step up in his place. And we will put them down.
Anybody expecting the greenskins to be the ones to make a preemptive strike if we're gonna take this Pa's old decrepit ass on a trek down to Byre River? He's
No.
gonna be outside of his comfy walls.
I would doubt that they would make such a move. No,
I'm not even sure they would know.
I would suspect that they would rather wait until he has long passed. His reputation has preceded him to such that even, well, I assume the time after his passing, they will be still wary. Legends of his arrows traveling silently through the wood, clinking many of their number, would tell many stories that would linger on, that would cause fear, and they will linger back for a time.
I don't think that'll be the case exactly. They probably watch over this place just to see when it happens. They know he's getting older. They've seen him change. His hair turned to white.
It's undeniable. These green fucks are more organized than any of the other of their kin outside these woods. Who knows how well they're informed.
Well, I kind of lean forward to the group and quieter than we've been discussing and talking, knowing that Father's not that far away and we know how good he can hear. I'm like, well, perhaps if we get back after taking care of Father, the four of us may have a little bit of time where we can go into the woods and perhaps let them hear the sound of arrows again, just as a precursor to anything they may want to do.
Wouldn't mind that at all.
I agree.
With that, I stand up, kind of look at, just smile at each of the people in turn, lingering on Musk. I'm like, Musk, I think, yep, it looks like today's, it's cleanup day and you're in charge today. And I walk off into the other back room.
What the shit? Thought we'd pay people to do shit like this. I bet there's droves of fucking scumfuck humans ready to scrub our floors for a penny.
I just kind of mope.
You'll probably notice, John, that as you say that Ray would probably just kind of stare down a little bit at her plate and take the single apple that she bit earlier with her as she slowly rises. You'll probably notice, Musk, too, that the whole time that you were eating like that, she wasn't even remotely bothered by the sloppy nature of your eating habits, and in fact, it's either that she's probably either just gotten used to it or doesn't care. It's kind of hard to tell at this point, seeing as how she doesn't really show much emotion, if any. But she gets up and, with that very stoic gaze upon her, she simply turns around and before looking briefly to you all, I will be out back. Before lightly stepping off.
actually
just
going to stand up and begin cleaning the table actually before Musk can even get to it.
Nice. Now, Musk will most likely, after he's finished, he'll just kind of be sitting there, kind of looking nowhere, kind of to the void, just kind of being alone with his thoughts because he's kind of pissed off that he has the cleaning duty and stuff, and he doesn't want to fight his way out of it right now. So he's just kind of muttering to himself, kind of just sitting there.
All right, as you guys kind of sit there and move around the mansion, some staying foot, others go about outside or wherever you want to go. In time, you all will have learned, or at least those that go outside and stuff, find your father in his favorite place, namely the backyard. Which he practices his bow, and you see him gently kind of walking casually as he has a long bow in his left hand, and with surprising speed, he just as he from a very casual, non-combatant position. He, in the blink of an eye, has an arrow on his bow and shoots it, and he shoots it at very different targets, not like stationary circles where he needs to aim at, but he hits like trees, and he hits like apples hanging from trees, and you would assume he on purposely shoots it into certain bushes and that sort of stuff, and all of it just casually kind of strolling. It's almost like a man walking through his beautiful garden, and but then all of a sudden stopping and shooting one or two arrows and then continuing his walk. So
Ray, being the one that decided to go out back, would probably witness some of this, and as she does, she takes a while to just kind of contemplate this. For this kind of makes her think back to when she was much, much, much younger, and brief glimpses of a more fatherly and motherly figure standing over her, teaching her to shoot a bow as they do, as is Wood Elf custom to know. And a bit of those memories flood back to her, and she is filled with a sense of warmth for the time being, before it quickly is washed away. And she simply mutters upon her lips very softly, so faintly only she can hear it, "Not enough time."
time passes by, and you all spend your evening as you desire. Roland will, after a decent walk, will have gone inside and found himself in not the main. There's a large area where he would sometimes receive guests, even though this hasn't happened for a while now. But there's this somewhat small study with a nice fireplace and some books and comfortable chairs, and that's where he pretty much, retires for the evening and sits there drinking something and reading a book. So, is there anything specific you guys want to do in this evening?
I actually want to. You said it's still daylight out, correct?
It's getting darker now, depending on how quickly you've left from the table. But it's yeah.
I'd wish to go do target practice same as my father, following along with him if I could.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah. No, there's actually two types of things that you can do. There are really official targets placed on one side of the house, so you could shoot there, or you could join your father on a walk and just shoot at pretty much nature-like things, whatever you desire.
That is what I'd wish to do, is shoot at nature-like things.
All right, there you go. So you join him, and you know that Roland enjoys his walks, and he enjoys comfortable silences. So, but he's always open for a conversation. So you can just walk with him and both be silent, and now and then shoot at things, and kind of have these father-son moments where if one of you two does a specifically good shot, you kind of look at each other and kind of go like, yeah, that was a good one, and continue your walk, or you could start a conversation.
No, it's about like that first part. I'll comment on his shots, maybe the weather or so, but that's about it.
Yeah, all right. So you enjoy each other's company, and the skill you both bring to the table. So it's comfortable and educational at the same time. Anything else you guys, anybody else wants to do?
Well, Musk will, after, if there's anything left for him to clean up, he'll most likely just kind of shove it into a pile and maybe dig a hole and throw that stuff into a hole. But it's he'll take advantage of the location and all the services it provides, in the sense of I'm pretty sure there's a grinding stone or something of that nature in the area, and that'll alleviate a lot of manual labor if I'll get to just kind of kick it with my foot and just kind of grind my short sword, my knife, and my arrowheads and stuff like that. I'll make sure they're in peak condition. I'll oil them up. I'll check that my bear trap that I keep in my backpack is oiled up, and well, that sort of thing. And once I'm done with that, if there's still kind of spare time, I'll most likely just kind of I'll retire to maybe the roof of the building and just kind of lean on maybe like a smokestack or something like that. Kind of just lean there and just kind of look into the woods and ponder stuff by myself. Kind of rotate what's to come, and what all this kind of what the stuff with the letter is going to demand of us in the tomorrow, and all these talks about the troubles with the goblins and whatnot. It's all these things are he's kind of booting them in his own head with his own very negative kind of point of view.
All right, excellent. You find a comfortable spot. It's probably a spot that you know and have sit before. It's starting to become autumn as the seasons go. So there are some leaves and stuff on the roof, but they actually only add to bring comfort in sitting there and stuff. And you kind of look over the trees, which are somewhat in the distance, starting to make out the forest, and let your thoughts wander.
I would think that while Musk is grinding away, sharpening his axe, Rayla will approach you, and you'll probably hear her light footfalls as she approaches from the side, standing there, her hands at her side, before she reaches behind her and shuffles out a small bit of parchment, and she walks over towards you, handing it, and in the same motion saying to you, "I have noted some hunting spots you may want to take advantage of."
Oh, I'll turn to her.
What you got for me?
She unfurls the parchment, showing a bit of a crude map that shows pretty much several areas that are familiar to your visage. And upon it, she begins to move her finger around this region towards the ravine in the south. There is quite a large elk to be found. He is nearing his final twilight years. He has proven to be the dominant one in the area, He has driven off many males, but he has lost this season. You may want to get to him before the wolves and bears do.
That's good. You can always sell some elk pelts and meat. Always demand for that in the market.
Though he
Yeah,
is of old age, his body is still very strong and resilient. It should prove to be a mighty bounty for you.
how about come across any exotic types? I'd like to wander off one of these days to further into the exterior, further into the frontier to see something more exotic, something I could demand a higher price for. Maybe all the way in Moonwell, those pansies with their powdered wigs and shit. They pay a pretty price for a colorful pelt, some colorful feathers, some aphrodisiac dust ground from some exotic horns and tusks and whatnot. There's a lot of gold to be made there.
And for a brief moment, there is she just gives you a bit of a nod as you say these things, and she looks to you. Some of the more exotic beasts are going to be much harder to find in the interior. I know that the goblins keep to their hunting grounds very keenly.
Yeah. These woods are starting to become kind of too familiar, if you know what I mean. Kind of wish we could venture forth further on, but I ain't risking my own neck by myself doing that. If I come across a fucking owl bear or something, I'm shredded to meat in no time. So, since you're wandering along the woods anyhow, if you're ever looking to go further on, gladly tag along and see what I can take down on the way.
I never bothered thinking about going beyond.
There's quite a large mountain range in the north to be kind of. There's a lot of stones unturned there, I'm sure. A lot of gold to be made, just what I'm just saying.
You say the woods are becoming familiar, but I've barely gotten to know them.
Yeah, I guess. Especially in them holes. Holes that the green fucks scurry on. They seem to hold a lot of secrets since we know just about dick about them. I'd like to go digging myself. Pa wasn't so against it.
Well, he is wise to be. There's an uneasy truce to be held. If he were to have it broken, it would cause problems. It would also be expected as well. Wherever you go digging, just make sure that the gold wasn't found by a dwarf. You may find yourself blasted by their rough-hewn ways and forward. Well, I'm sorry. I mean boulder-like continents upon you.
Yeah. I just keep wondering if Pa's caution is more due to his fatherly softness. If he doesn't want to see us get scraped and scratched and bruised. Because I figure that all of us, the four of us going, pretty sure we'd make it back alive from their stinking holes. Goblins, after all. Organized or not, still fucking goblins.
Yes, but there are still very much many of them. And in those burrows, they continue to breed. He is a wise man beyond his years, and his foresight is both a caution of his own morality and of our own safety, I assume.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what future holds. Bloodshed, most likely. Just like
Well,
it to be green blood rather than red.
it is as they say, the leaves do die and fall.
Here, here.
I'll grab my short sword from the ground and just continue on.
She then turns around silently and wanders off. And from there, she'll probably find her own little private spot to kind of brood a bit, as the thoughts of the goblins do rouse some continents of emotion within her, and she feels a bit of a stirring bloodlust occurring. She too craves the green-skinned blood splattered upon the ground, and perhaps to be buried their bodies in wicked bones so that they may grow something beautiful for once.
Later in the night, probably close to when what I would think father would be going to sleep, I go into the study where he is.
Mhm.
I drop a small satchel by the second chair that's there, walk over to the dry bar, pick up whatever bottle looks like he had opened, pour myself a glass, and then walk over and fill his glass and put it back. And I sit in the chair, kind of place it on the little side counter next to me. I reach down and pull out of the bag a wooden engraved box, so basically a Fletcher's box. When you open it up, there's all feathers and fletching and tar and everything basically to make arrows, but it's beautifully engraved on the top and of a bow and then kind of a sylvan scene. And I kind of look over, I say, Father, do you remember when you gave me this?
Of course I remember. It was the day when you made your first true shot.
And you remember that you trusted my decision to do it, even though you said I was younger than I was supposed to be.
You proved me wrong.
I'm thinking it's been too long since we've done arranging, and I'm thinking I could take the others with me when we get back from your party and perhaps push the goblins, or at least let them know that we're still here.
What do you mean?
The people in the towns, the people around, your reputation alone has kept the goblins at bay, I believe. And they're numerous, but they've had years to just build up. Like rabbits they breed, you've always taught us. And you haven't gone out in a couple of years like you used to when I was younger. We'd go out and take 12 or 13 years just to let them know that you're about. And I'm afraid that it's... Perhaps, Father, perhaps you'll let me do this. Let me take them. And we'll go out together as a group.
To show them we're here.
Just a small ranging. Maybe 10 or 11 years. If I can get him back without Musk eating him.
I don't know. It's dangerous.
We face dangers every day. Musk goes so deep into the woods that I'm afraid that he'll get lost and never find his way back. Ray is in the woods especially all the time. And you can't keep Edward around. He's always traveling somewhere. And trust me, the lands of the cities that he goes to are probably more dangerous than any of these things around here. At least you taught us how to deal with everything here. The cities are wild and vicious in their own right.
Oh, yes. It's not that I fear for your well-being. I know you, the four of you, know how to take care of yourself. just... Well, I would hate for these actions, and they've been a while since the goblins felt any resistance. I would hate for it to act like a hornet's nest. Let me think on it, and speak to your siblings. If they all think it's a good idea, let me know, and I'll take it under consideration.
I take a small sip of the dried dwarven whiskey, kind of swish around my mouth, and I look back. He's like, I've already discussed it with them, Father. They're all in agreement.
I see.
But if you want to wait, we'd rather not do anything without your blessing. Whatever you decide.
You're a good son. Perhaps I have gone too cautious at my older age. 12 years might be a proper statement. Let them know that the long legs still have teeth.
With that, he just has a huge smile, and then he kind of just looks inside his cup, smiling still, and drinks down the whiskey. Then he starts coughing.
Careful now.
I don't drink this stuff ever. He kind of places it down, closing the box. Thank you, Father. And he kind of walks over, and I bend over and kiss him on the forehead. It's good to see you again. Good night, Father.
Sleep well. He kind of pats you on the arm as you bend over to kiss him, and you leave the study. It's nice and warm there. There's a good fire roaring, and he's sitting in his favorite chair and just reading a book as you leave.
Yeah, I go, even if everyone else is up for me, I just go right back to bed and start getting my stuff ready for the day. Big day tomorrow. I need my best cloak.
All right. If there's nothing else that you guys want to do, if there is, please let me know. But if not, then you guys are just going to get some rest and enjoy. I'm assuming that's might depend on your character. You all have your own room there and your own staying and belongings. They're never touched. Just so we're clear, there are no servants in this house. People, you've always been taught for the period that you lived here that you need to take care of things yourself and you need to look after things yourself, which does mean that your rooms are never touched or anything. They're not cleaned if you're gone and that sort of stuff. So you might need to throw some dust off of things here and there, but it is as you recall. So you find some rest, and the next morning you wake up. Just so we're clear, the day after this day is your father's birthday. And you'll be traveling towards the village at around 3 in the afternoon, and you'll probably get a room there in the inn, and then so that you're present there when the feast starts. So in the morning, you all wake up. I would assume that you're all somewhat early risers. Which is somewhat of a custom here in the house. So almost before the break of dawn, you guys are already sitting at the table with a comfortable breakfast, and there is fresh food and stuff prepared. And your father sits there with a smile on his face. He looks very happy that everyone's here, and that everyone's present, and he just sits there quietly, kind of eating small bits and pieces, but mostly just taking it in.
So what's the schedule?
I would say that we will travel towards the village in around 3, and then we'll find ourselves some rooms at the Five Sisters Inn, and we'll have a nice stay there, a good meal, and we'll see what they have planned. Is everyone in agreement?
All right.
Sounds
Yes, it sounds most agreeable.
Sounds good to me.
Good, good. Your oldest brother spoke to me. Whenever he says that, he kind of always looks at Ray, because, well, technically she's the oldest, but you're never considered the oldest. He kind of looks at you all and says, and I believe you all spoke of sending a message to the goblins.
Right, we did. Yeah.
After the feast, when we return to the mansion, you have my permission to take up to 12 years, if you so desire.
I bang
Fine.
the table. Yes.
That's right. There we go. So them fuckers packing.
I don't think 12 years will make them pack, but it will certainly make them aware of our presence, in a way that they haven't had for a long time.
Ray sort of turns around from her from her meal, and as a little brief descriptor, it kind of takes. She kind of starts making her breakfast like long before everyone else is awake, and there's like this pattern that this takes her much longer to get certain things done, and it's not so much because it's like it just takes her a while. It's just because mostly, I guess, at a ritual for the most part. And she turns to you all, and she just gives a slight nod to that.
All right, so you guys enjoy your breakfast. Roland is quiet and just enjoys your presence. And once breakfast is done, he says, "Well, I'm going into the forest for a while. Enjoy my walk. I'll be back at around 2. I'll pack, and then we'll be able to leave. If you're all ready to leave at around 3, then we'll head towards By River."
We'll be ready, Father. Don't take too long.
Yeah.
Clean out the stores.
He stands up, and then you see a thought like kind of cross his mind, and he kind of looks at you, Musk, and says, "Around 5 we would arrive at By River. I saw you brought some pelts and things that you might wish to sell."
I got a couple of rabbit furs sitting there.
Curtis might wish to close up early today to prepare for tomorrow. Do you wish to leave earlier, or is 5 agreeable to you?
Shit, it's no big deal, Pa. I'll sell him them. I'll sell him them later when I have a bigger patch. He'll make enough money from this festival to pay me for a bigger patch.
Very well then. All right. We'll travel together at around 3. He walks off, taking his own plate, of course, and walks off.
Once, pretty much when he leaves, I'll kind of munch my stuff down and kind of before we leave, I'll like most likely when I woke up, the first thing was for me to put everything together, kind of tie my backpack in tight and have all my gear there, because pretty much all my possessions are stuff I can just throw on my back and carry with me. Because I have that ready, I'll kind of go and I'll take advantage of the fact that there's targets in this place where I can shoot arrows without having to worry about breaking the arrows themselves, and like I would maybe with trees or something like that, and damage them. I'll go and target practice on a bunch of hay and stuff like that.
All right. Excellent. There's there used to be an even wider variety, but now that you are all grown and are skilled at archery, the easy targets have been somewhat taken out, and there are the normal targets, and then there's the harder, and then there's the extremely hard targets. So there's a nice challenge for you here to undergo. So it's you'll easily spend your time there.
Yeah, I'll go to the normal range, but I'll be there with my longbow, with my backpack basically lying there beside me on where I'm standing, basically, and I'll just be kind of boom, kind of there, just yanking it in and letting loose and cursing when I miss and feeling good about myself and waxing my mustaches when I hit a bullseye, just that sort of stuff.
Nice. What does the rest do?
Ray is going to spend her time gathering her belongings together in preparation of the journey. And pretty much when everyone else is done and gone, whoever kind of lingers behind last would probably see her kind of sit down at the table and give out a long sigh before she gets back up and then heads off swiftly to gather her things. And for her, this is very much a very well-planned meditative ritual where she gathers all of her little trinkets in the forms of tiny stones with runic carvings in them. Some of them are even moss grown over, and she grabs them up, and they have sort of like the tactile feel of dice as they sort of clink around in her palms of her hands. She kind of lets that feel around in her fingers as she places them in the pack each time, one by one. Bits of animal bones, feathers, things that accompany what would be the accoutrements of those who follow druidic paths, these various fetishes, if you will, that are gathered up and put down in place, berries and preserved herbs and such, a large quantity of them, as they are placed inside each in as orderly of a fashion as she can muster each time, before eventually getting to her pack and slinging it over her shoulders, and then grabbing one of her staves. And the staff in question having these many fine layers of cloth around where you would grab it at the handle. And the stick itself is quite long and somewhat gnarled, but as it is, it's intricately carved. Various tiny little bits of runic carvings all the way down. And at the top of the head, there's sort of like this very narrowed face carved into it, and upon close inspection, it kind of looks like almost the look of a satyr in a way, but a little bit more ancient, a little bit more different. Heralds back to the older gods of nature and forest and such, and they are carved all along the top of the top of the staff, as it too has almost like that of a dream catcher hanging from it, and various other accoutrements. And so it jingles and jangles as she walks with it slowly out the door, just to enjoy a bit of that wind and sunshine in this fall-like, autumn-like conditions.
Anything else the rest does?
Yes. During my morning preparations, I'm actually going to find a an open part of land and begin meditating through like the through the forest and not so much like Phil, but like I have like my religious symbol, kind of like it's almost the shape of a sword and stabbed into the ground. Just kind of towards the sun, and put my hands together in prayer, inspecting my equipment, as I go throughout the day.
All right.
much like much like the others. I mean, I think our fathers taught us all to be limited on the stuff that we carry, and we tend to carry everything that we own within our own bags on us. The only thing that I have in my room is a tiny wooden, just about 10 little wooden knights that father had carved for me when I was really young, and I leave them there just as reminders. I kind of position them, because they're fighting. You gotta do that. Then I grab my backpack and the other stuff, and I move out. And as we finish up breakfast, everyone's doing their own thing, and Ray gets up and leaves and does her sigh. And I kind of know not to really, when she does that, that's kind of her thing, saying, I'm going to be by myself. Don't bother me. So I just kind of sit back and pull out the Fletcher's kit, and I begin making arrows with the new dwarven broadheads I had purchased last time I was in there, replacing all my arrowheads and then putting them back. And it takes up quite a bit of the time of the day. It takes, probably up to about where we get out. And this is my way of sitting before my God as I meditatively just think of what I have to do, what I have to fight, how bows work, and how, if I perfectly make these arrows, how straight and true they'll be when they penetrate every goblin that I target. And then I close it up, clean up the table from all the spilled wax and tar that's fallen down from the glue. Then I head outside, put down my bag, and just kind of wait with the others as I suppose we all slowly trickle from whatever we're doing to the front of the house as we're getting to leave.
After a while, you all indeed gather somewhat ready to leave. You see Roland exiting the house as well, and it's been a long time since you guys seen him like this. He's wearing not the exact copy of what his adventuring gear would look like, but it's close enough. He's wearing a leather armor, and he has this beautiful cloak on it, and you all know it to be a magical cloak that he wears, and he has the hood up, and many of you kind of consider this to be the reason why the goblins always have a hard time kind of seeing if he's older or not, because he always has the hood up, so his gray hair is hardly ever seen outside of the house, and he has this very almost militaristic kind of pants on, and these boots which also have a glimmer of magic to them, and he kind of steps out, and much like the four of you, he has only a light backpack with him as he turns to the house and kind of closes the door and places his hand on the front door, and you see him kind of closing his eyes and breathing in a couple of times, and there's this shimmering of the house as he looks at the four of you and says, "Let's go."
I'll scout ahead.
And I'll make it. I'll start kind of jogging. I'll jog ahead to the point where we'll see one another, but where if there's a hill to go over, a corner to go over, I'll have the advantage to make sure that the route is clear.
All right. The five of you travel north, kind of like northeast from where the villa is standing. As you all know this road. Well, it's not a road, but you know this path leading towards the town or the village very well. It it is a journey you've done on dozens of occasions, if not hundreds. And so you all travel there, and you see little bits of water and stuff where you as children, or well, as younger people, kind of skipped over rocks and that sort of stuff, and traveled in a more playful style than you do now. This is all just very like, okay, let's get from point A to point B. But in your younger times, you might have enjoyed stuff, building little rafts to send down the river and that sort of stuff. Traveling through the woods, it's a thick forest. Trees are quite close to each other. Rocks shoot out of the ground, coming up sometimes. I don't know, like a human and a half size up in the air, and having sharp points, and some are rounded, some are sharp, and moss growing over them and that sort of thing. So but you know this road easily, and you know each corner, you know each tree, and you've seen them all. As Musk, you're walking in front. Throw your perception.
Okay. It's +3, 8, so 11.
11. All right. You kind of look around, and you're aware, and you're alert for your surrounding, and you notice there's a carving on one of the trees, where you're like, that wasn't there before.
Okay, I'll go to. I'll first look back. I'll see that if nothing has changed with the rest of the group, and then I'll go investigate. But I'll right away, as I approach it, I'll approach it cautiously, and I'll already have my hand. I'll already draw my knife out, my just regular little knife there. I'll have it just clenched in my fist, just in case.
Mm-hmm. You look at the marking. Do you speak or write Goblin?
No, I know. I speak Common and Orc. I think that's it.
All right, then you look at the signs, and you kind of try to interpret it. It's not a sign that you know, but it looks. You've been around goblins long enough to go like, yeah, this is probably a marking that one of the goblins made. It's clearly not made by an animal of sorts, and you don't consider this to be something that a human would do, these type of markings.
Could I make some sort of a general kind of investigative roll or something where I would kind of try and determine, even though I can't literally interpret it, but does it look like it's a threat, it's a territory sign, or if it's just kind of lovers or something? If I could make a generalized roll or something like that.
Yeah. Throw your intelligence.
Okay. Can I use any skill on that? Like I have investigation and well, I'm not sure if those would help.
Well, there's not really anything to investigate. You know the sign already, so just you might use your history for it.
Well, I don't have any. So. Okay, so it's just the die. 19.
19. There you go. You look at it and you're like, God damn it! Why don't I know this shit? And actually, your anger kind of triggers like a memory where you're like, wait a minute. You've seen a symbol. It's not like an exact copy, but you have the idea that you've seen a symbol like this before, and it is you've seen it and kind of like symbol, goblins mark things here and there now and then, but a couple of months later, you come across that area again, and a small goblin settlement was erected there.
Okay, so it most likely is some sort of a territory sign.
That would be a safe assumption, you would think, yeah.
Well, in that case, I'll make it a point to kind of scout ahead in search of smell of smoke. If I see that there's any signs of firewood having been gathered nearby or anything like that, if I'm ahead enough of the rest of the group where I can venture off a little bit, not too far from the beaten path, but still a little bit, just to see if there's any immediate signs or anything.
Because you want to remain in line of sight with each other, and the forest is quite thick, you're not that far ahead. So you could, of course, go off the beaten paths, but well, seeing as you already also spent some time investigating this sign, it would not really allow you for a lot of time.
Okay, in that case, I'll just kind of stand by and kind of look to the rest of the group and see them arriving.
They're already coming closer towards you, indeed.
I'll kind of point my finger at the tree without touching it. I'll just kind of look at them and say, check this shit.
Mm-hmm.
What are you seeing, Musk? As I walk up and look at the tree.
There's some goblin carving shit here. Looks familiar from a settlement I remember seeing a little while ago. Somewhere in these close by. I can't recall quite.
I look over my shoulder, looking at Father. I'm like, they shouldn't be this far in. This is definitely not even close to their territory.
Begging for a ranging.
He shakes his head. Your father shakes his head and says, indeed, it might be... you've proven again that you might be right. Should be good to take... perhaps even 20 years.
I look at the tree. I actually speak Goblin.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's anything words, or is it just symbols?
No, it's a symbol, but Goblin text is primitive and is mostly symbols. And you look at it for a short moment, and you think like, yeah, this is a symbol where they kind of indicate that they wish to build a settlement, and it's clearly there. They have like a different symbol for a settlement above ground and below ground, and this is clearly like a settlement. Like, okay, we need to place something here above ground, and seeing how it's marked, you would assume that it's like it's not an order like build a settlement here, but it's like, this could be an option. And you would, looking around, you would especially also, of course, Musk and so also sees this is a reasonable good place for a settlement. There's water nearby. There's things that you need. So it's you understand why they would want this.
Looks like they're surveying to expand. They got water, they got food. But this is right in our way. This would be cutting off our path to the town.
Fucker's getting bold.
I look to Musk and I speak to him. This may be a good place for us to set up for a possible kill zone to ambush them as they arrive to set this place up.
Good call. Scout this territory once. I'm not one big for parties. If I might actually have more fun. This might be more a party for me, checking this area out, scouting here.
No, Musk, we all have to be there for Father. We have to represent him.
I know. Thinking out loud.
With that, he kind of gives you a condescending pat on your shoulder. I know, Musk. I know.
But I agree. It'd be good to start here and spread out to find if there's any goblins close by and make them fear this place.
If they're expanding, that might be a good sign to immediately put a stop and burn that expansion idea to the ground. Make a firm statement. Any expansion will be dealt with righteous burning.
With that, I look at... Oops, sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, Musk. I've seen you with your bear trap, correct?
Oh, that's
Maybe
right.
leave that and see if we catch anything here. Hide it around.
I like your style. All right. I'll catch up with you in a little bit. I'll I'll step right up a little bit to the side, see if I can hide this good spot.
I'll go to my backpack and just gonna chains and this big bear trap there. Then I'll just kind of look at you and kind of give you a nod, and then I'll just gonna
Well,
scurry off into the woods with a glee in my eye of setting traps for goblins.
I actually, as you do that, I'm like, Mosk, wait, before you go.
Yeah.
And I drop my backpack and I pull out my hunting trap, which is a bear trap as well, and I hand it to you. 2's better than 1.
Nice.
And with that, I take my knife and I begin to carve right over the goblin thing, and I make my own symbol for you know what? Do we have a ranger symbol that our father uses for when he's like marking things, or some kind of sigil or something like that? He has our ring.
Yeah, probably. He probably has a sign indicating his presence.
So I'll make a mark of whatever that is. Maybe it's
All
an
right.
eagle or a cockatrice. I don't know, whatever he likes to use.
Mm-hmm. All right, you start to carve over the carvings of the goblins, actually using their lines here and there, and you make the markings of an eagle, and it's placed there, and you're quite satisfied with it, depending, of course, on how much time you take for it, but.
Not too long. I'm assuming it won't take Musk long to set the traps. He's pretty skilled. So
Yeah, Musk, throw your survival to see how well you set the traps.
Okay. Ha 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 ha. That's a natural 20.
That's a natural 20. There you go. You place both traps in a nice, what you would consider a nice approaching line towards this area, and you can choose to set them both on one line, but there is another one as well, so you might choose to spread it out. Do you have a preference?
I think I'm gonna follow the logic of since this was marked as this kind of a sign of here'd be a good spot, for building and stuff. I'll survey the area in terms of if people were to come here and start the building process, chopping down trees, bringing in supplies, whatnot, or just surveying the area. I'm looking for spots where, with that intention, people would naturally kind of go into, look for firewood, look for trees to chop down, and places like that. And I'll place the traps in 2 separate locations in those kind of areas.
All right, there you go.
I'll make him. I'll dig a little bit of the ground to make them not like so that they're on earth level, and I'll put lots of like dry leaves.
Yeah,
and
you
stuff,
you hide them masterfully. That's no problem. You even consider the fact that mostly, as you know, goblin legs and feet and that sort of stuff aren't as tough as a bear paw that would step into it. So you even adjust the strength to it, or well, at least you could. The fact is that if you leave it at the strength level that it's on now, it will just chop off a leg if somebody stands into it. So it won't catch them. They will just be chopped off, and they probably bleed to death.
Yeah, I don't want that. I would very much like to cut their bellies open and leave them for the wolves to eat up, rather than just let them bleed to death from having their leg cut off. So yeah, if it's adjustable, I'll adjust the strength to.
With your roll of 20, you'll be able to adjust it. Be it only with placing a stick in a specific position that it will get the first impact and then snap into the leg itself. So that's doable.
Yeah, I'll let all my sadistic tendencies fly when it comes to these little green rodents. No sympathy, nothing even to animals or anything. These are creations of an evil god, so fuck him.
Yeah, so you spike the chain, and you make sure that it's connected well, that they don't just walk off or carried off with the thing. So easily done, and you return as the others have just pretty much left from the tree to move towards the village. As you see, the marking on the tree is now carved over, and you recognize this marking out of 100 because it's a symbol that your adoptive father used to use a lot.
I like to add that during the time when you started carving the ranger symbol over top of the goblin symbol, Ray will look at that and watching Musk walk off into the woods there with the bear traps in tow, she'll look upon that and she'll sort of give a bit of a deep furrow of her brow a bit as you do that. And it's a mixture of concern and not really. You really can't tell what other emotions there might be there underneath that fey visage, but there is definitely a lot more intensity into those actions that she seems to be putting into it as she lingers on by. Afterwards, she slowly then raises the book back up that she was reading and continues to read, though her eyes do linger back in the forest that Musk had traveled in.
All right, you guys move on, and the journey itself, further than that, is uneventful. And you see the defensive walls of the village in the distance. Did you want to say something, John?
Yeah, before we get there, can I do something?
Yeah, sure, of course.
I wanted to just approach Ray as we're getting things. Having noticed her looks at what we were doing and having no idea what that meant because he never could understand her, he does reach into a pocket and pull out a small wax wrap thing, and he hands it to her. You kind of catch her. He's like, "Oh, Ray, I know your birthday was a couple months ago, and I wasn't here. I'm sorry for that." And he kind of hands you this like balled up wax papery thing, which is just wax cloth. And when you open it, you see inside it looks like 3 rings, all carved from different color wood. One is kind of a light pinkish wood, one is a dark brown wood, and the last one is kind of a silvery wood, all from rare trees. And he's like, as you're looking, they're all separate, but as you're looking at them, you kind of get a feeling that they can all be put together into one ring, that I've taken the time to carve them into them.
Ray will slowly pick them up, look upon them. Right up to there, the sun rising, and kind of play with it with her finger in the air, looking at it. It is fine craftsmanship. They are wonderful. Thank you.
Sort of like, just kind of like, oh yeah, well, I felt bad. It was your birthday and stuff, so yeah. What, Musk? And I walk off towards Musk as if he called me.
And she sort of like stares at it in her hands for a bit before folding up the paper again and then putting it back. And then afterwards, immediately taking the book out and then begin reading again.
All right, so you continue on, and you arrive at the village. The river runs through it, and there's a wall around it, a wooden wall made out of separate trees. And you arrive at the gate, which is, of course, guarded by some guards. and they look at you, and you see their faces kind of light up as they see the five of you approach, and they already wave as they see you approaching in the distance, and as you guys approach, they say, Roland, it's so good to see you. Thank you for coming. Yes, please come in. As they look at you and they all nod at you and kind of, hi, welcome. Hi, good to see you again. Come in.
Arriving to the town, even though it's a familiar place to us, it's now that we've had such a firm commitment about the goblin situation, I pay special attention to its defenses. You said that the wooden wall was mainly from, like what, tree trunks or stuff like that. Yeah, I'm kind of looking if there's no moats around it, right?
No, there's no moat around it.
No. It's just Musk is kind of like just looking around, kind of bending around, clearly looking around, just kind of
No moat, no punches. Couldn't keep a cow out of this place.
kind of muttering below my breath. Kind of, if someone is right next to me, they'll hear what I'm muttering. Kind of.
Should speak to somebody about this.
Yeah, I look to you, Musk, and I say, I was like, well, I mean, you have a little time. We could strengthen some defenses around here. Just get a little few trees cut down by these people living around here.
Yeah, that's right, but they'd have to pay me more than some of the humans here would be just as willing to hammer in some spikes and dig holes.
Just so you guys have a clear image of it. The wooden wall around it is quite large. They've kind of separated through this wall a large area, because there's also actually, besides more or less the village and the center of it, there's also a couple of farms and farming land that are also surrounded by these walls. So to dig a moat around it would be
yeah, okay.
a big undertaking. Yeah.
Then in that case, I'll take back what I just said. Well, Musk's intelligence is 10, so maybe he was thinking the moat building would be probable. But still, he's just kind of thinking. Maybe he's just thinking out loud again, because he's wondering about the defenses, especially since the goblins seems to be emboldened, because
It's easy to imagine that defenses of Bar River would be overly laxed, especially with Paul being here. Soon as the goblins show more of their teeth, soon as Paul becomes more tired, this place might not be ready to take on Horde, or whatever it is their numbers are these days.
Yeah. A clear flaw, in your opinion, would be indeed that from where the village center is and leading into the farmland, in your opinion, it would be a really good idea to kind of make inside the wall a separate wall splitting the two areas, and then at least making the village surrounded by a moat, which would make it a lot easier to defend it and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, the farms could be evacuated into.
Yeah, exactly. There's only a couple of people living there, but they take up a lot of space because they do a lot of farming here.
In that case, even if we haven't approached the actual town's walls yet, Musk's memory of what the defenses there look like, is it also something where they might need some strengthening, or are they sturdy enough in terms of what our imagination is building up with the possible threat of the goblins?
No, it's clear that the village has been. It's not like that they're not looked after, but it's clear that the village leans a lot on your father. That they lean on his reputation and the fact that they're never attacked. I mean, the guards also kind of stand there quite casually and say, like, hi, and it's just, there's no there's no real sense of dread.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning to Raj, especially about this kind of like looking around at the defenses, especially since he's a fighter, warrior, and somebody who's been around Moonwell and places like that. I'm kind of looking and pointing my finger like,
Look at there. Those guard towers wouldn't be able to shoot that direction more further than a few meters. This whole thing looks fucked.
Are you sure you're not speaking while muted, Kyle?
Oh shoot, yeah, I am. I kind of look around at the walls and I was like, yeah, you're kind of right on that, but I mean, they can't really build the towers too well if they don't prepare them right. We should probably look to strengthen the barricades, like build up a big nice gate or something.
Yeah. It's easy now that Pa's here, feel all secure and such, but I don't feel like talking to no superiors of town. I don't feel like presenting myself in front of no mayors or anybody else who likes to wear fancy hats like that. But if you want to talk to somebody, you might want to. There's ample stuff to talk about.
That is true.
I mean, you've seen, I'm pretty sure that in the bigger cities, you've seen all sorts of stuff. When it comes to defenses, you've seen it. You must have seen all kinds of
There's some stone walls around other places. This place barely got a wood wall.
Yeah. I ain't saying no goblins could take these wooden walls down easily or anything like that, but...
Does this place even got a militia? Somebody
never even thought about
something? I mean, there's that guy over there who just said hi, but he's not even paying attention. He's talking to some kitchen maid over there.
Yeah, stupid sorry fucks. You might want to look into that. I have no idea what their capabilities are in this little shit town.
Yeah, maybe I could at least take the time to teach a few of them to shoot a bow.
Yeah, that sounds good. Maybe you should.
Yeah, I think I'll actually head off and see about that now.
All right.
As you guys kind of enter into the village, you can tell that the news is already spreading that you guys have arrived, and you see people kind of looking out and coming out of their houses and kind of like, oh, hello, hi, it's good to see you, and I don't know how often you guys visit this village, but it especially if you visited other villages, there's a happy-go-lucky kind of vibe here. There's people are pleased with their their role in life, and they just seem to be happy and easygoing. Most of the people, of course, and as you see what you guys know to be the mayor of this village, he kind of hurries towards the five of you, and he says like, Roland. He grabs his hand and shakes it firmly. It's so good to see you. Thank you so much for coming. I wasn't sure you were gonna come, but here you are, and you brought everyone. Oh, this is such good news. This is such good news. We have rooms prepared for you at the Five Sisters, so don't you worry about anything. We're taking care of everything, and you look good. You look good. He kind of grabs his arm and he says like, yes. Might I steal you for a moment? There's some things that I want you to look at. He kind of looks at the four of you. I'm sure you'll be all right? Enjoy yourself. You know the way, don't you? Huh? He kind of winks.
Yeah.
I'll just kind of walk off, kind of look around me, kind of with a scowl on my face, try to look for some mead or something to chug down my throat.
I look over at Father, looking into his eyes, like, does he really want to deal with this guy, or do I need to knock him out? Because
No. They've known each other for years. So as you see them, he smiles and nods and says, Of course, of course. Let us. Let me come with you. He kind of takes his backpack and looks at you and kind of says like, "Would you mind taking this to the Five Sisters for me?"
Of course, Father.
Thank you, thank you. He then kind of puts an arm around this mare, and I don't know how tall you guys are all exactly, but seeing your father around these people and stuff, he's an old man, but as you see him kind of walking there, he is, especially for his age, he's quite tall. He easily puts his arm around this much younger man's shoulder, and they both kind of walk off.
Yeah, I'm 5'3", so I'm really short.
No, no, yeah,
Yeah, so to me, he was always a giant.
yeah.
Yeah, if I had my back straight, I'd be like 6 feet, but I always kind of slouch and that kind of thing. So my posture is horrible. So I look pretty average height.
Ray is just almost at 6, standing at around 5'11" for the most part.
Roche stands about like an average man. He stands very straight up, very proper. He's probably around 5'7" or so.
All right, so you're, well, with the exception of John, you're all at a decent height. So, but it strikes you now that you see him with other people. You're like, yeah. He probably in his prime was like really a sight to behold. As they kind of walk off, you kind of look and you see a familiar large building, and it's the Five Sisters. And as mentioned, there are rooms for you waiting there, and it's the best place to get a drink.
So that's where I'm headed then.
All four of you
I don't
go
like all these people around me. Even though this village isn't like the festivities haven't started yet, the people haven't like gathered into this clump yet. I'm like dreading that already, and having 2 sets of walls behind me, and I'm kind of like just. I wish I wouldn't have to be here, but I'm here, so I might as well consume some alcohol.
Yeah, I try to stand up as tall as possible, pretending that the extra backpack, I was already tired and exhausted from carrying my shit all day. Now I'm carrying Father's, which is really heavy, and I'm having a little bit of a hard time. But I stand up as straight as I can at 5'3", and I push forward as if nothing's wrong. Well, let's go to the inn and get some drinks. When in my mind, I'm saying, I need to dump these off of the room.
All right, so you guys head over to the Three Sisters, and as you come closer and more to the center of the village, you all notice the fact that there are decorations being put up, flowers and stuff, and painted signs and that sort of thing, and. Some of you might think like, oh, that's nice, and others go like, oh shit, because this is it has all the pre appearance of being a big thing, and as you head towards the building, you see people kind of walking past you and nodding and saying, oh, hello, and how are you? Oh, it's so good to see you, and they don't really stop to talk to you because. Most of you don't really have that like come talk to me kind of appearance, but they all acknowledge you and know who you are.
Ray will, as she's walking, right, there'll be like a couple of children that like scamper in front of her. They're like running and playing. Oh, I got you. You're the goblin now. As they run by, and she's sort of like they run right in front of her as they do, and she pauses in her step and looks upon them. She doesn't remember them being here before. She's made sure to take mental note of every face in the village for the most part, but she doesn't really recall those kids. And then she sees the kids running up to one of the farmer's daughters. And she clearly recalls her not being with child at any point in time, But then she looks back to that and sees that she's a much older woman now, and that she has like 2 kids now, and she begins to, her brow kind of furrows in a more contemplative way as she tries to take in this fact. And for her, she now realizes, she reminds herself again that she's amongst the company of humans, and everything is fast paced. People are moving back and forth. There's a hustle and bustle. Wagons are being pulled about. Humans are such busy things, and and they move fast and live fast. And that this is part of one of those things that kind of hits her every time she comes into town. It's like, it just, in her mind, it was just only yesterday that she was there, and now she is already with 2 children. What will happen the next time she visits? Will she be already hunched over and gone? She wonders. And these thoughts kind of compile in her mind as she takes in this menagerie of noise and sound, and this bustle of folk moving about, and the decorations being set up, and as beautiful as they are. And she ends up, speeding up her pace a bit, walking along as she gets into the doorway. And maybe when she does, she'll hold it open for you, John, as she moves on by to let you in.
Yeah, immediately. I've gotten to the position where, using my awesome height, I've basically just hid behind everybody so that I don't have to greet everyone as they walk by. And then I immediately, as Ray opens the door, I kind of slink into the inn as quickly as possible, moving towards the bar or the nearest sister, where I can speak to her about getting a room, or the rooms that were prepared.
As you entered the tavern, there's it's a big tavern, and there's a lot of people there at this time, and you see all 5 sisters are present there. They have green aprons in front of them, and they have all the same clothing. Even though that's not 100% correct, it's more or less that Linda, who is the oldest sister, she has the most proper outfit, and the younger the sisters get, the more revealing the outfits somewhat become. And as they kind of walk around, and Linda is the first to spot the 4 of you, as she hands the tray that she was holding off towards one of her younger sisters, and she walks towards you and says, "There you are, welcome. It's so good to see all of you."
It's good to see you too, again, ma'am.
Ray will force a smile that she has practiced, that she knows is a time-honored tradition amongst the human folk, to smile, of course, talk to her by Roland. And she looks, and it is a very, for those who might not be used to it, like she's like turned her head sideways for the time being, taking in the stuff. And when Linda approaches, he turns. It is nice to see you as well. And then she ends up looking around somewhat awkwardly before relaxing her cheeks a bit.
As Linda doesn't seem to pick up on your awkwardness, or perhaps even tries to to ignore it, and she says, "Oh, thank you so much. We have rooms for all of you prepared. Also for your father." She kind of looks to see if he's hiding behind anyone.
I'm actually going to step forward and be like, "Oh yes, hi, nice to see you again, Linda.
Hey.
Youngest or the youngest, correct?"
Oh, you. Yes, I am. For you, always. She kind of winks at you.
Well, as beautiful as ever, as I could see as well.
Thank you. Come. You must be tired from the long walk. I have your keys over here, and she looks at Rayla and says, "And there's somebody who's been waiting for you." She kind of winks.
When she does that, Rayla kind of looks at her and she kind of narrows her eyes a bit. Who?
She kind of points at the table, and you see a young man sitting there with a beer, and kind of here and there a couple of spots on his face, and he takes a sip as he sees you looking at him, and you look at him like, who? Throw an intelligence check.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
As he rolls that, like I turn and I'm like, raise my eyebrow. Who's that?
Meanwhile, I'm just outside, just emptying my nostrils before I step in.
That's a 10 I got on that.
10. You look at him and wait. Isn't that the kid that I don't know, a couple of days ago or the last time you were here, he kind of fell and he bumped his knee and you kind of helped him with that, but he was like this 5-year-old brat or something. As he kind of stands up and is heading towards you, and you say like, wow. That's Nike. If Nike, of course, he wants to see you. He's been all of a puzzle, knowing that you would come. As he kind of walks towards you and says, he has this kind of dangly look. It looks like he's going to be a tall man, but he hasn't grown into it yet. So he kind of like walks over you and says like, "Hey."
Well met, Nike.
How have you been?
The days have sought me well. How have you been?
Yeah, I'm good. You wanna drink?
She looks down. What is it that you are having?
Whatever it's you're having.
Very well, but I will not be drinking at this time. Perhaps later.
Oh yeah. No, of course. You want to freshen up. I get that. Not that you need freshening up because you look really good. But just what? I'll be over there and I'll just I'll be waiting. All right. Yeah. He kind of looks at her two brothers who are standing beside her, and then he kind of looks at Musk, who's just starting to enter the tavern, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll be over there." And he just hurries back towards his table. And Linda kind of leans over towards you and says, "I think he's kind of smitten with you."
And then, like, she kind of mulls over that word "smitten," and she looks over at her again. I see. Smitten. Yes. Yes, he wishes to mate with me. Yes.
Well, why don't you? Here's your key, and just he's still young. Be gentle with him.
And with that, she kind of stops and she takes the key. She walks immediately right over to where he is, and she kind of leans over towards him and says, "Nike."
Yeah. Hey, you want a drink? I'll order you the drink.
No, thank you. I will have a drink later, however.
Uh-huh.
How do I say this?
You don't need to say anything. It's I know these things. There's this that's okay. That's okay. I know you're.
Good. I'm glad that you already know. And
Yeah,
she
yeah.
pats him on the shoulder, and then gets up. Oh, and then she just stands back up, and then turns on her heel and just immediately walks away.
I'll be here.
And with that, he walks back over to the rest of you. She does, and goes, well, I'll see to my room then. And then walks away.
As you're walking away, you hear "damn" and the 5 coins being dropped into someone's hand.
You see Nike trying to make himself even more presentable as he sees her going upstairs.
Yeah, to kind of contrast that, Musk walking in has kind of a brownish, greenish kind of cloud emanating from his kind of shoulder line, all that stench of not being that into bathing. He kind of walks in and immediately just goes and just lifts his finger on the counter, not even kind of saying what he's ordering, just kind of... And when something is brought to him, he'll just kind of put the coins on the table and immediately just walk out with the drink. He's kind of hurry to get out from this small confined space filled with people.
As you put the coin on the table, Leanne goes like, "No, you don't pay."
Huh? Stupid humans. I'll just put it in my pocket and I'll just take the drink and walk outside with a smirk on my face.
Mm-hmm. Well, the rest of you go upstairs to go to your rooms, and as you do, you see Lily is just walking down the stairs as she looks at the 3 of you. And she smiles and nods at all of you and says, "Oh, hi. Good to see you again."
I nod. Oh, good to see you, Lily. How's business doing?
Oh, Linda. She always has something to complain about.
Yes. No. She seems nice to me.
Yeah, well, that's because you're a customer.
Yeah. Okay then. I think our rooms are here.
Yeah, over there to the left. As she
thank you, Lily.
as she walks on and she looks at Raj and says like, "Oh, hey Raj," and she kind of touches his arm for a moment and says, "You're looking good."
She touches my arm or whatever.
Yeah, she kind of like touches you for a moment, and she kind of you see an extra smile in her face appear.
I kind of lightly put my hand on her cheekbone and I was just like, "It's nice to see you as well." Taking care?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. It's not easy being the youngest, but well, at least I'm not. I don't have such a stick up my ass as my older sister.
Oh, I wouldn't quite say that, but well, I could guess to it.
Well,
I hope to
I'm
see you
assuming
tomorrow.
you're.
I
What?
hope to see you tomorrow. I'm quite tired right now, however.
No, I'm counting on seeing you tomorrow, but it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes.
All right. If you're coming down for a drink, let me know. I'll pour you your favorite.
Thank you.
All right. She nods at Rayla and says, "Hi," and walks on.
She gives her a slight nod.
All right, you guys.
I just stare at Roj, and then just turn and just go into my room mumbling something.
I kind of stare to him back. What was that?
Just waves my hand as I go in my room and close the door.
Well,
I'm the one who's not going into his room.
yeah, exactly. You're the one that stayed downstairs, and you still have your backpack with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have
Did
all
you
my
do anything
possessions.
specific outside or outside of the tavern?
What time is it?
It's probably close to 5, about somewhat
okay.
to 5.
Oh, okay, so there's the entire evening still.
Yeah.
Well, I'll go walk about. I'll keep a fair distance away from people, but I'll kind of walk around the town, sipping on my drink. I've kind of planned it to where I plan on going to the Crow's Nest store to meet with Curtis a little bit, the store owner, and on my way there, I'm gonna kind of pay special attention to the town's defenses. It's a town filled with humans, but it's still a center of commerce for me. So if I want to make those gold coins, this town is pretty valuable to me. So its defenses are of great interest to me. So I'll kind of walk about. I'll kind of leisurely look at the if there's any watchtowers, and if there's anything like that. If there's any guards posted anywhere, I'll kind of pay attention to their demeanor and stuff like that. I'm kind of imagining in my head like what would happen if like I would want to kind of just go and out of nowhere kind of tackle somebody or something like that of the guards to just see if they're at all prepared for something out of the blue and stuff like that. But of course, I'm not going to disturb the peace and that sort of thing like that. But still, I'm kind of walking around just kind of looking at these like humans, like just looking down on them while I'm slowly walking about, sipping on my ale.
Mm-hmm. As you're walking about with your ale and kind of drinking and looking around, it's quite clear to you that this village is badly defended, and there are even because it's nice and quiet close to the walls. You walk short distances here and there alongside the wall, which mark the outside of the village, and there are, on some occasions, even holes big enough for goblins to worm through. But they're not like every 5 steps or anything. But as you walk for about 15 minutes or so, you see 2 or 3 holes where you would think like, yeah, a goblin could probably get through that.
Yeah, I'll see if I come across any guards that I feel like they're kind of daydreaming or anything like that. And
it's not like they're daydreaming, but you see guards. There are very few guards, at least you don't see any at this point, that are standing and just looking at everything. But you do see groups of 2 guards here and there walking about. And so they're not really daydreaming, but they're pretty much taking part in the life of the village. You know, they stop and talk with some people and that sort of stuff, and you know, they you see frequently that they lend a helping hand if somebody's lifting something heavy and stuff. It's not like they pick it up and carry it towards where they need going or anything. But if somebody's loading a wagon of sorts and they're having trouble lifting something up, oh well, you know, oh come on, we'll help, and they just lift it into the wagon, and then they'll say like, okay, bye, John. Yeah, I'll see you later. And you know, it's all very very easygoing, very casual,
Hmm.
friendly.
Okay. Well, in that case, I'll mostly just make mental notes about stuff. I don't feel like antagonizing any of the villagers at this point. I feel like maybe I should antagonize them after Raj has spoken to the mayor about the defenses or something like that to make a point, but not at this point. I'll just keep on walking towards Curtis's crow's nest store there.
All right.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
you easily arrive at this place. You know where it is, and it's located in a quite a beneficial place in the village, next to a good road, or more or less it's not paved, but it's easily accessible, and it's to your surprise even it's still open.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know if I have my furs with me at this point because it was just a few rabbit furs and stuff like that. Nothing major. But I'll kind of I'll kind of walk in almost like I'm walking into my own house or something like that. I'll kind of just kind of push the door open there and kind of just look around and have just this kind of I'll hold on to my collar there, kind of in a relaxed way. I'll kind of look around if I see anybody there.
It looks a bit quiet as you come in. There's no people there at this time, but you hear. Oh, God dang it! What the hell? Is that you, Musk?
House business.
Well, I'm glad it died down before you entered. How you doing, buddy?
Just surveying the scene. Just kind of looking if you'll be available to stock in soon enough.
The likes of you, I'm always available. The price is right.
Yeah. Listen here, there's gonna be a long ranging to the further reaches of the frontier. I'm gonna be bringing in some strange exotic stuff.
Say what? That's good. That's good. Glad to hear it.
I want to make sure you have the coin to pay me for what I'm about to bring. Ain't no small town shit I'm bringing in. I'm bringing in shit that you're going to be able to sell down to the pampered fucks back in the Moonwell. I'm going to bring you stuff that you can sell to salesmen back at Seacrest to take elsewhere. I'm going to be bringing huge loads of strange, exotic pelt, horn, tooth, tongue, meat, guts. I'll bring you anything you can sell forward. I'll bring horse loads. Just want to make sure, especially with this festival coming in, that you make sure that since everybody's coming in, everybody's spending a lot of money. I want you to make sure that your cash box is going to be good and filled when I come here with the merchandise. So, just letting you know not to let your misguided sense of altruism kind of get the best of you and offer free stuff for people in the festive mood. Matter of fact, I'd suggest bumping him up since they're going to be spending anyhow. Because I'll be demanding a fair price for my merchandise. You can be sure of that.
Oh, well, it sounds like you have a lot of plans there, Musk. Where exactly are you going that you're gonna get these horses loads of rare goods? By the way, are you in the market for a horse? Because I might fix you up with one.
Might look into that maybe tomorrow. But yeah, it's me and my siblings are going to be going into the bush. Ray's going to be leading us into under unturned stones and holes and mots and whatnot. We'll most likely counter stuff I don't normally come across.
Wait, you're telling me the four are heading out together? What? Why? How is that? I haven't heard of you guys doing that before.
Just a lot of things are turning. Looking at the state of this town, everybody running around willy-nilly, everybody feeling all comfy and secure back here. I don't know if you've ever peeked under the hood of our paw. He ain't the strongest bull of the woods anymore.
We all know that's you, Musk. We all know that's you. You're the true power behind it all.
Oh, fuck off. It's arrangements like these that make me think you should add something to your catalog. Maybe you should add some good old spring steel to your catalog. Maybe there might be some use for that in the near future. Just letting you know what the markets look like. There's some rumblings going on in the woods that we need to look into. Rumblings that may have people scared. Rumblings that might lead into some aches that a spring steel piece might help alleviate, if you catch my drift.
Not completely, actually.
Not gonna say anything more than that, really. Need to speak to the mayor first.
You're gonna talk to the mayor? Wait, you're serious?
Not me.
Okay.
I wouldn't step into that fuck's office if I would get paid for it. Just letting you know, future markets. Invest in future markets. As steel is where it's at. Weapons is where it's at. In this shit town, weapons will be where it's at. Count my words on it. You start selling weapons to the authorities of the town for them to distribute, you'll make some good coin. A coin I'll gladly put in my purse when I come with my merchandise.
Wait, you're telling me two separate things here. You're telling me to invest in weapons, and you're telling me to make sure I have plenty of money to buy your shit.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. See, you invest in weapons, you sell them at a higher rate to the town, and then you'll buy off my merchandise and sell them at a higher rate to the fucks back in the Moonwell.
Wait, you're expecting the town to be attacked?
I ain't saying anything more than that. I'm just saying future markets, my friend. Future markets. You hold that in your heart.
And I'll turn and walk off.
As you walk off, he kind of opens the window and you leave.
And as I leave, I'll finish my ale and kind of toss it over my shoulder to the ground.
All right. The rest of you have settled in. I don't know how often you guys stay at this inn, but it's clear that you've been given the top tier in rooms, because they're comfortable, have their own fireplace, and they have their own nice big bed and that sort of stuff. So it's clear that the village has gone above and beyond to make sure you're comfortable. As you settle in, you go downstairs. Probably, what do you guys plan on doing?
I actually wanted to leave the tavern for now and go find a guard.
Easily done. You walk out and you...
What is he up to as I walk up to him?
You notice, by the way, that guards are very rarely, at least you don't see it. You always see two of them as you walk around. You see two over there at the square, and there's two over there. So, and they both just kind of walk around. Both groups of two just kind of walk around, and some of them kind of check out pretty girls as they walk by, and hey, hi, how you doing? And
If I catch one of them doing that, I kind of want to snap their fingers to like get one of their attentions.
he doesn't. He almost looks a bit caught at you, like hey, good to see you. How are you doing?
Well, I'm guessing that lass is protective if somebody tries to take off of her, but
Well,
about
you
the
know
other
what they
gentleman
say.
over
You gotta keep an eye on that booty.
I was wanted to know if I could speak to you or a commander of some sort, the captain of the watch.
Wait, you're gonna report me? Jeez, I was just looking.
No. Well, I mean, it did cross my mind, but I just wanted to talk to him about some things.
He kind of looks at that. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Well, he's at the guardhouse. You know where that is, right?
Do I know where that's at?
Yeah, probably. You know this village quite well.
Yeah, well, I'll go ahead and head over that way.
Yeah, you know where it is. You need me to guide you there, because I can walk with you and make sure nobody bothers you.
No, just keep a better eye on the whole group instead of just certain portions.
Will do. Yes, sir. No problem. As they quickly kind of walk off, the two of them.
Yeah, I quickly kind of jog over to the captain's, the watch house per se.
Yeah.
What exactly does it look like?
It's where most of the buildings are have a very open kind of character. Lots of windows and that sort of stuff. This is one of the few buildings that is quite closed, and it doesn't look very inviting. There's a big door, and there's usually at most of the buildings here there are windows and large openings where people could easily climb through or that sort of stuff. There's only slits here, and so it looks defendable.
Like when you say slits, do you mean as in like they're meant to be there, or is it portions between like the wood where?
No, they're clearly meant to be there, so you would be able to shoot like arrows out of it or something.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna just walk up. Is the door closed or?
There's a guard standing in front of the door, and the door is closed. Yeah.
I look to the guard. Is the captain here?
He sure is, Roger. What can I do for you?
I was wanting to talk to him. About a few things I've seen around the town.
No problem. I don't know if he's busy or not, but you can go in.
All right, I'll open the door.
You open the door, and you find the captain sitting there, and he's looking at some papers, and there's a couple of candles burning on his desk, and he's just sitting there, and working on them. As he hears your footsteps, he kind of looks up and says, "Oh, hey, Raj, you in town? Ah,
Yeah,
for the festival, of course. Good to see you.
I reach out my hand to shake his.
Hi there. Hi. It's good to see you. Please take a seat. Is there anything I can do for you?"
Well, I was just wanting to say you might want to put your guards on a heightened alert or so.
Say what?
Have a meeting with your guards and tell them to keep an eye out, closer attention. Just a few moments ago, I caught one just checking out a lady instead of, looking down the street to see if there was anything going on. He was just, peering at a woman's bottom. Yes, this may be a bit funny, but there's been, goblin markings up the ways here, maybe an hour out of where they're planning to set up their own little home. That means they'll be in the area around this town.
You don't say.
There is no reason to, be all out to war or anything, but do keep a heightened alert.
He kind
Have them
of
check their weapons and be ready.
he swallows a bit. Well, that's not great news you're bringing me here.
Well, don't spread that out to the town or to your family just yet. We don't know exactly what could be coming to the area. We will keep an eye out, of course.
I
We don't
appreciate
wish
that.
to scare people for no reason. You understand?
Oh no, I understand. I understand perfectly. My
I
my.
kind of stare him in the eyes as I say that.
Yeah, you could tell from his expression that where it was first, much like many of the people here in the village, very like, "Hey, hi, good to see you," and you see his face kind of like becomes more stern and more like, "Holy shit!" It's like, I appreciate you telling me. I'll talk to my men about it, and we'll be sure to be on.
Do you know the name of the
more-
guard that I caught earlier?
Throw your intelligence.
Oh, sure. $13.
Yeah, it's Simon.
Yeah, it was Simon was the one that I caught. I believe his partner was doing the same.
Nah,
I do
those
see
two rascals.
Well, keep your rascals under control. I mean, all due respect, but it could be of importance at this moment.
I understand. Well, it's men get lazy and their attention tends to wander when things have been quiet for so long. But I thank you for alerting me, and I'll make sure that everyone is aware of the possible danger we might be in soon.
Yes. Well, before you do that, let me ask you one more question.
Sure.
Do not mean to pry into your business. Does the mayor of this town give you a form of budget to pay these people? For how many you can hire?
Yeah.
Are you at max capacity? Are you, spending as much as you could be?
Well, you wanna check my bookings? Is this because of the threat, or what? Why are you asking me this?
Well, I don't mean to scare you when I say this. Our father, he has a certain form of truce with these goblins, as you could possibly understand. Well, he
We are
is
all
getting
aware.
up there in the age. It's about time to be prepared for that.
His eyes like widen, and he's like,
No,
"Your father's dying."
No, he's not dying. He is older. He's not dying.
Oh,
And I kind of like reach over and pat him on the shoulder. No.
Rod, you scared me there for a moment. But I take your meaning. I'll.
But if you could, I mean, possibly just train a few people around here to shoot a bow. Have a little neighborhood watch set up of some sort.
Yeah. I'll look into getting some more men on the force. I think I have a position of 8 or so that I could add.
8?
Yes.
You've kept your force particularly below 8?
Oh, yes. I mean, money can be spent otherwise, huh?
Oh, yes, you are correct. And with that, I'm going to take my leave of you for now. But it was good seeing you. Take care.
It was good to see you, and I'll see you at the festival. Give my regards to your siblings and your father, of course.
Yes. And with that, I'm actually going to quickly get up and leave, closing the door behind me, and walk off very quickly back to the tavern.
All right. You head back to the tavern. I don't know, Balin and Rayla, are you sitting there enjoying something to eat, something to drink, or whatever?
Rayla kind of spends most of her time locked up in the room,
Okay.
as before everyone else like headed off and did their own things. Like as soon as they went up to their room, she would like close the door, and then as we see in this scene, she immediately presses her back against it, and she just kind of closes her eyes and takes a big deep breath, filled with utter disgust that that Nike was trying to pursue mating conquest with her, and the disgust is it feels like just she just has no real attraction towards him, but it's on a much more different level than just that. While for a human he might be of age, to an elf he is clearly not, and this is kind of recognized, and in her mind it just feels very awkward for just what felt like a few days ago. This child was just a small wee lad, and then she had bound a wound up upon his scraped knee, and now he is already wishing to be inside of her, and the thought fills her with a mixture of disgust. She, after a few moments in getting her things together, she takes a few breaths and walks back out. As everyone else has dispersed, so shall she, and she heads out into the town, and she moves right past that tavern and makes like very little contact with anybody.
As you head down, Balin, are you already downstairs, or?
No, I would actually go into the room, drop the bags, and then probably lay down on the bed and probably fall asleep for an hour or so because I'm exhausted.
All right, there you go. Then Rayla, you head down, and you walk towards the exit of the tavern. And as you're moving through the tavern, you see Nike, who's kind of like, he kind of looks up as you're moving through it, and you almost quicken your pace to just get to the exit before he is able to get up and talk to you. So you exit the tavern.
She is a bit surprised that he quickened his pace up.
No, he doesn't. It's like you see him noticing you, and as he does, you might want to quicken your pace to get to the exit before he does.
Well, actually, she does not quicken her pace, actually.
Oh, okay.
No.
Then he kind of looks up and just kind of prepares to stand up and decides to head towards you.
She will turn to him and acknowledge him with a nod.
Hi.
Greetings, Nike. I am heading out for a walk.
Yes, of course. I'd love to join you. Do you want anything like a picnic or something? We could bake some food and just have a walk.
I am not very hungry at the moment.
Just some wine, maybe, or
she is continually walking as
he kind of keeps pace, and you're so quite a bit taller than he is, so he kind of keeps pace and just joins you.
So, how have you been?
Good. All good. I learning how to become, a proper, learning the trade. Yeah, that's it.
What trade?
What trade? A cobbler.
Ah.
Shoes.
Yes, I understand.
Everybody needs them, except the halflings, but they're well, yeah. So, how have you been?
She kind of takes pause at that for a bit and then looks towards him as she tries to find the words to kind of express it, and then she looks to him and says, I have been tranquil.
Good.
And then this leads into this awkward silence that is generated from her walk.
Have you visited many other towns or villages, or?
No, I have seen them from the outskirts. Usually when the caravans need to be ferried across, certain wildlife tends to be a bit dangerous. Last season, there was a rather large bear that came by. It was very hungry, but I persuaded it to leave.
Right, right, yeah. You know, you could even charm a bear. Yeah.
Her head kind of lifts up and she turns to him. I can.
Yeah. I'm not surprised. You look really nice.
No, it is something, a secret that was whispered to me through the woods. Upon the winds of the ancient gods, they thus spoke to me that day, and I learnt those things. You'd be surprised what you can learn when you open your mind and soul to those primeval things. And she kind of like closes her eyes and takes a deep breath of the air and wind around her.
He kind of stands there a bit like not knowing what to say about this and just looking at you. And as long as you have your eyes closed, he's kind of
she kind of then like opens them and then turns her head slowly towards him.
Yeah.
And he'll probably pick up on the fact that she kind of squints when she sees like little children run by, as if she didn't recognize who they were.
You like kids?
It is not that. I do not remember them being here.
Oh, well, yeah. You know, tons of kids around here. I hope to get some myself. You know.
You talk as if you will go to market for them.
No. I'd hope to, you know, meet the right woman and settle down and, you know, have kids and, or not if you know the woman in question is charming bears or something.
Sometimes the elks must fight each other over a female. I've observed this many times. They bash their heads against each other relentlessly, and sometimes they die from it. Other times their horns get entangled and they cannot get them free. And they starve, or the wolves get them. Such an ancient struggle.
Wait, are you telling me there's someone else?
And she kind of turns, and she gives him a look like she doesn't understand what he's saying. She goes, the elk, yes. There are elk out there. Have you not seen them?
No, I thought you were talking about me.
Well,
you know,
yes.
fighting for you. I'm not a big fighter or anything. Not like your brothers, but I you know.
Why would you be fighting for me?
Well, you're the one that mentioned the elks and fighting, and it's.
Yes, so that you can win yourself a mate.
Yeah, but who do I have to fight?
She kind of shrugs her shoulders. Whoever it is that is, I guess, courting the female of your choice. I'm not quite familiar about human mating rituals and how you all go about your ways. If its memory serves, I know that Father Roland told me many times that it is often prearranged. Yes? I'm sure your parents have picked one out for you.
I got you. Right. I need to talk to Roland. Okay. No problem. I'll talk to him, and I'll make sure this is settled. And if there's anybody that is courting you, let me know, because I'll take care of it.
Courting me. No one is.
Good. Just I'll talk to Roland, and I kind of expected you, to be less formal than that, but if that's the way it goes, it's fine by me.
Nike. You need to understand. I thought you understood before, but it was my fault. I misunderstood what you were saying. I am not interested, I believe is the correct response. And she kind of does another forced smile.
Why not?
You are very much, last time I saw you, a child.
Well, I was, I was 11, and well, it's not. Yeah, well, I technically, but
How old are you now?
16.
And there's like a visible lurch in her posture a little bit. I'm afraid that will not work out.
Oh. Okay.
Time is much different for me than it is for you. And it would be very hard on you as well as myself. You understand?
Not really, but if
Are you aware of how long my life will extend?
pretty long, I guess. You're an elf, right?
Mm-hmm. Hundreds of years will pass. And say we do marry, I will
Yeah.
barely have the time to know you. By
But-
the time you even grow old, it would be just a moment for me, and then you would have withered and died like the leaves of autumn. But unlike them, you would not grow back. You would be gone
But
forever.
all the
And
more
I would
reason
be
to
here.
marry someone young. Because, if I'd be like old and like, I don't know, 25 or something, then I wouldn't have that long to live.
In my eyes, your lives drift by very quickly. Again, you would be gone by the time I would barely get to know you. And I would be here. I would remain. After your parents have died, after your generation has died, after your children's 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 children has come and gone, I will remain.
But you'd have our children.
I don't wish to have any.
All right. Well, I'm sorry. I bothered you. It's just last time I saw you, you were so kind and so. Well, you've grown even more beautiful.
I have not changed since that time. I am still kind, as you put it. However, I am not a human, and I cannot love you the way a human can.
I understand. You don't need to repeat it. I just I'm Sorry for bothering you. Congratulations with your father. And, I'll be on my way. Enjoy your walk.
I give a slight nod, and I will pass on your regards to Roland.
He nods and kind of walks off.
And as he finally walks away and stuff, she kind of gives out a bit of a sigh, kind of reflecting on how else she could have handled that. And then before turning around and going for a walk, and then thinking to herself how pesky human males are in her head, that all they can really think about is one thing. And she kind of just keeps walking with that in her mind a little bit.
You smell the scent of tobacco as you hear, like, ouch, that was painful. Ooh. You see a small statured person coming towards you, and you see from his bare feet that he's clearly a halfling. He's kind of tucking on his pipe. Never easy, is it?
She tilts her head down and then kind of kneels forward. What do you mean?
The boy. Well, you should have heard him. He's been talking about you for months. Well, puppy love.
Young human males tend to do that.
They do. So, what are you doing here?
Roland is celebrating his coming birthday. The town wishes to honor him, and we have come here on his behalf as well.
Nice. All right. So, is there a specific type of party you're going to be going through?
Only the one that the town has set up, and all of its festivities that are to join such an occasion.
I hear you. Well, then I'll be looking for you. Enjoy your walk.
I will. And she kind of takes pause at that as she keeps walking.
As he kind of bends off and walks off. As she keeps walking, she kind of snorts a little bit to get that bit of that tobacco smoke out of her nostrils. But she kind of part of her does enjoy the scent that the tobacco leaves behind. She appreciates a little bit of the hickory scent from a campfire now and again, and continues to walk on by. All right. There you go. So you enjoy your walk. There's depending on how long you want to walk, there's a very long, more or less road leading out of the village, still within the defensive area, leading past the farms and that sort of stuff, and you could head back. But that would take,
actually, she will walk by the farms and stuff, and because the farms have always been a more enjoyable place for her, and she walks on by and she kind of just takes a look at all the farm animals and stuff, and kind of does a bit of a checkup since she does help out with them from time to time.
Oh yeah, you're probably better known in the farming area of this village than you are in the village itself. Everybody kind of knows you and respects you even more there. So they look at you and kind of raise their hand. And you have pretty much with all the farms, you have the run of the stables. So it's not very common for people of the village to walk towards a farm and just go into their stables or something, but you're free to do so, and you make use of this.
I do, and I go in there, and I any of the horses and cows and other beasts of burden, she gently walks up to them and kind of takes part in their company, and she'll kind of stay there for a while, a bit, as the company of the animal life of the common beasts are very much enjoyable compared to that of the human breed, and perhaps even those of the halflings. Their lives so fast and busy, so moving around with their multitude of intentions and stuff. She takes great pleasure in the simpler creatures, and she has a much more intimate understanding, part of that wood elf heritage reaching outwards, as she feels a much deeper kinship with the wild in this sense. Even these domesticated beasts she has this feeling with, as she gently takes her hand and strokes them. But of course, she cannot stay here for too long. She knows she has other things to attend to, and she takes another breath and heads right back into town, up to the tavern, so that she may yet endure, again, more of that hustle and bustle of human activity.
Yep, and that's definitely what you'll experience. There's now that people are done working, they seem to eat for a moment, and then they seem to pick up their decorative activities, and flowers are being brought to everywhere, and especially certain areas are more decorated than others. So, must you also return towards the tavern after a while, or do you stay outside?
I'll return to its near proximity. I won't go in. I don't like the confined space and all the hustle and bustle and like that. I'll kind of stay outside and maybe sometimes sit on a bench, sometimes lean on a wall, something like that. But my eyes are constantly transfixed on where I left those bear traps, like the straight line to that place. And my mind keeps constantly wandering there. I constantly feel like I should be feeling moss and leaves underneath my feet, not these pebble roads, these kind of not this village life. Like I should be out there, hearing bird sounds and feeling sticks snap under my feet and stuff like that, climbing trees, setting traps, setting up campsites, being on my guard all the time. In that surrounding, when you have that ambiance of forest sounds, you're constantly like aware, like you have like those dog ears popping up, and constantly like if you hear something that deviates from that, here the ambiance is all this like this hustle and bustle noises and people coming going, and you're constantly like, it's for a ranger like Musk, it's kind of overcharging, and it just kind of gives him even more kind of negative thoughts and kind of vibes, kind of like I wish he wouldn't have to be here kind of thing. But of course, for Pa, he'll be here, and his mind is constantly just wandering, thinking about if he would go right now, would there already be something in those traps, and constantly just preoccupied with that.
All right, you kind of stand outside, and it's slowly coming towards dinner time. So you see people returning. Actually, the pour into the tavern is swelling up. More and more people are coming in, and you hear more and more sound coming from the tavern itself. Raj, you also return towards the tavern, I thought?
Yes. I immediately go inside and offer or buy a drink straight from was it Lily?
Lily, yeah, absolutely. She sees you and smiles and kind of waves at you, and you don't even need to order. She knows what your favorite drink is, and she kind of puts it down in front of you, kind of stands there for a moment, kind of wiping the table you're sitting at, and she's like,
I'm gonna
So-
start a conversation with her.
All right. She kind of looks at you and says, like, "Are you enjoying being back in town?"
Ah, yes. This is a very nice town. Uh, it's quite beautiful folk staring at her for a moment.
She smiles and nods and says, "Well, we're glad to have you back."
Yes, and I'm glad to be back. I
Good.
do always love these little small towns like this.
Small town. Hey, we're not
Something
that
wrong.
small.
There's nothing wrong with being a small town.
No,
Very
I
many
guess
good
so.
things about it.
We do have a lot of good things. We have your favorite drink. She kind of boink against your the wooden mug where your drink is in.
Okay, yes, this is a fine drink indeed.
Where are your siblings?
Well, I believe Ray, she's always off on one of her walks if she's not back yet. And Musk, well, there's no telling. Balin, I think he's probably taking a nap.
Really? Why? Is he that old?
He acts like it sometimes.
Oh,
No, he's not that much old.
Grandpa. At that point, probably you'll probably come downstairs, Balin. You had a nice little nap.
Yeah, so in the room I actually completely changed out of my dusty clothes, my traveling clothes, and put on the finest clothes that I have with my nice new cape and splashed water on my face and slicked my hair back. That I just got out of the shower, look with your hair all fully wet and slicked back. And then I go down.
You see your brother sitting there talking to Lily.
Not wanting to disturb him with Lily, I'll walk by, pat him on the shoulder, just nod at him and Lily, and then let's sit a couple stools down from them, and then just order a drink from whoever's at the bar.
All right. So as you're talking to Lily, your brother kind of walks by and kind of pats you on the shoulder and nods at the two of you. And Lily kind of, as he walks past and makes sure that he's a bit out of earshot, he's like, "You don't think he hurt me, did you?"
No, I don't think he did.
Ah, good. I don't want to offend him.
Oh no, he'll be okay.
Ah, good. I'm not supposed to say a lot about the festivities for tomorrow because it's supposed to be all of a surprise, but I know there's going to be dancing.
Oh, would you like to dance with me?
I wouldn't mind.
Well, I think that'll be a good thing tomorrow then.
Good. I'm looking forward to it.
I kind of like look into my mug. It's getting a little bit empty. I kind of, would you be a dare and get me some more?
Absolutely. She grabs the mug and walks off. And as you kind of follow her, she's a nice-looking young woman, and she steps behind the bar to refill it. And you see one of her older sisters. You think the one is called Laura. She kind of grabs Lily by the arm and kind of whispers something towards her. And they start to bicker like sisters behind the bar, and after a while, Lily kind of like pulls herself free and returns towards you.
As she walks up and is like, "Is there a problem with you and your sister or something?"
Oh, sister stuff. You probably know having brothers and sister. She puts the mug down. You know, she wants me to work the room, talk to everybody, but
Well,
not
I'll be back.
everybody's you.
You take care of that. I'll be around.
Okay, if you say so. Don't go anywhere. She walks
I won't.
off. All right. Do you do anything?
Well, I do kind of just sit there and drink my drink, and I wait for my other brothers and sisters to get here.
All right. Well, actually, the first one to enter the tavern, and Musk, you also see him as he approaches and starts to walk towards the tavern, is Roland. He enters the tavern, and you see it's not like the tavern goes quiet or anything, but you do notice that people notice him entering, and you hear around you here, "Look, it's Roland." And
Sorry. I've I pay close attention to his body language when he arrives because he's been spending this time with the mayor, and I'm trying to see if it seems that the mayor has been talking with him mostly about the festivities and whatnot. So is he kind of tired from that kind of thing, or is it more serious where it looks like they've been talking about serious topics?
Throw your insight.
Oh, insight. Wisdom.
We have insight. Yes, yes.
Yeah, I had forgotten that. 6, so 7. My great keen eye when it comes to human emotions, the thing I care very deeply about.
Exactly. You see him as he walks towards the tavern and starts to going into it. You can tell that he doesn't look like as fit as he did when you guys left his mansion, but you can't tell if it's for what reason. I mean, it could just be that the fact that he's been moving about and not sitting or whatever. You don't get a second layer on that.
Okay, well, in that case, I'll just kind of acknowledge it, and I won't go straight up behind him. I'll just kind of wait for whenever he's most likely like sat down somewhere or it's kind of eased up, and then I'll kind of creep in, not right away.
All right. You see him walk in, and you kind of go like one tomato, 2 tomato. You kind of start to count about how long would it probably take for him to settle down. But knowing him, you add a couple of percentage of time period because people will probably start talking to him and that sort of stuff. And indeed, as he enters, the two of you that are in the tavern will notice that Linda immediately shoots towards him and like, Roland, oh, it's so good to see you again. It's been too long, really. You live so close by. You should come by more often. You know there's always a room for you here. Thank you, Linda. You're very kind. I'll try to do that. He kind of looks and sees his two sons not sitting with each other, so he kind of looks and is one of you at least Roger? You're sitting at a table.
Yeah. I'll immediately walk over to my father, Roland.
Yeah, he looks at you and kind of puts a hand on your shoulder and says, "Hey, did you settle in all right?"
Yes. This is.
Sorry, what?
This is a fine establishment here.
It is, isn't it? I always enjoy staying here. He looks at Balin and kind of raises his hand to acknowledge you as well. And
I sort of raise my glass up and then point at it and then point at him.
He
waiting for the nod.
He raises some like, yes, please.
So I turn and I order a bottle of whatever whiskey that I know my father would want, and then order 5 glasses too, or 5 mugs, whatever they have.
Okay. The most of the drinks are poured in mugs here, but depending on the quality of the whiskey, because surprisingly enough, you guys have pretty good whiskey because not so surprisingly, it comes from the dwarves, and so depending on your father has a taste for it, so. I don't know what price tier you want to shoot it into, but mostly knowing your father, it will be a little bit higher, so you'll probably get glasses with it.
Yeah, I'd probably throw it into like the 5 gold a bottle, which would probably put it pretty high up there.
Yeah, definitely. So, but you don't have to pay because that's the arrangement, and so you get 5 glasses and a bottle, and
I leave a gold coin on the table as a tip, just to the bartender.
As he kind of looks and says, "No, you don't have to pay."
No, it's a tip. No. Yeah, I just nod and just slide it forward and grab the glasses and the bottle and head over towards my brother and father.
Kind of takes it with him. As you, the 3 of you, then sit down at the table, and you see Rayla also entering. returning from her walk. I'm assuming you're going towards the tavern now, right?
Yeah. I immediately head back to the tavern. As I walk in, I immediately spot where everyone else is sort of gathering, and she sort of begins to make her way over there as well. And she will partake of some wine
Mm-hmm.
and have that instead. As she sits down, and she takes small sips of that wine as she does. Before looking at the festivities around her. The loud noise and boisterousness drum into those more sensitive ears, and takes a little bit more concentration for her to kind of filter out all the ambient noise of talking and going on about as she focuses in on the more inner conversations going on.
Mm-hmm. As you see, as you're the four of you are sitting there, and Roland is looking at you, and he kind of leans forward, and just for a moment just puts his hand on your hand, and he quietly says, "Focus, Rayla. It'll be all right." And
She will nod to him and say, "Thank you. I'll do fine."
I know you will. As the glasses are being poured, how long do you wait, Musk, for to enter?
Well, around that time, when I see Ray enter, I'll pretty much go in behind her, but I'll kind of be standing in the entrance way there, in the doorway, leaning on there, kind of like, yeah, but once everyone's gathered around the table, I'll kind of shuffle my way there again, just pointing to the barmaid there and just grabbing my drink and going to the table there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as they came and sat down, even though I know Ray doesn't drink it, I poured a glass as they approached, filling up each of their, because I've got 5 glasses for everyone, so I fill up their glasses, whether they drink it or not. To me, it's customary to drink with Father whatever he drinks.
I'll take it.
He grabs the glass and kind of raises it to the four of you and says, "To your health."
To yours, Father. Drink it.
And Rayla will actually grab it and partake as well of it, though it is not something that she typically does. Seeing the occasion that it is, she makes the exception and imbibes. Though it is not something that offends her senses as much. It's for her, at least, it's more or less a taste. It's more. It hasn't stayed long enough. Perhaps more of those refined tastes of elven heritage.
So as you guys sit there and drink, Linda and Laura both approach, and they say like, "It's so wonderful." Linda takes the word and says, "It's so wonderful to have you all here. Have you gotten hungry? Can I arrange something, some food to be brought to you?"
Well, I could personally use a small lunch.
Lunch is done, sweetie. It's dinner at this time. It's about 7-ish.
Yeah, just bring me something small. Just surprise me.
Will do.
Yeah, what do you have? I'll take any stew or fowl, chicken, whatever the best you have for meats.
She points on the board and says, "Everything we have is over there. You can just pick whatever you want." And you see a couple of meat, a couple of good stews, and you also see apparently some venison has been caught. So there's a good amount of that on the menu.
Noticing the venison, that's the one thing I stay away from, as I know that it's not going to compare to anything that we have in the woods. It's probably been killed 3-4 days ago, and it's probably been sitting there. So, but I will go for anything that's chicken. Maybe like a thick chicken stew and lots of bread for the table, just
All
for
right.
me, and then a couple of chickens just to eat.
There you go.
I'll see what's the most expensive thing.
It's probably the venison, some special type of preparation.
Okay. I'll
Yeah, we'll try this out. Let's see what your venison's like.
Will do.
Ray as well will look up to her and say, "I will partake of the venison as well."
Absolutely. And you,
Yeah.
Roland. I'll have the stew. Thank you. Very well. And they both walk off, and time passes by as after a while the food is brought, and there are big plates, and there's a lot of food on it, and you see or you hear around you people are all eating and laughing and talking and that sort of stuff, and depending on where you sit, you will see a certain quarter or a certain part of the tavern that there's now and then there's people look at in the direction of the table that you guys are sitting at, even though it's not like a very prominent table or anything, but well, the people on it are all the more prominent to these people here.
I'll eat with my fingers as I normally do everywhere.
Mhm.
I won't be using a knife or a fork. I'll just pinch and stuff it down my face. If it's too tough or something, I'll just yank it with my teeth.
All right.
But it's not like I'm trying to make a scene or anything. I'm really crouched over where most people will see just the top of the head come from the shoulder line. Just gonna, just gonna, like my face is that close to the plate, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think in Balin's mind, I sort of I quietly just take in the silence that is our group, almost like this force field of energy is flowing over us, and I just start blocking out everyone else.
Mhm.
Because even though it might be weird to everyone else that we're just sitting there quietly, to him, that's the way it is. That's the way we grew up. That we sat in silence a lot, not talking a ton, not bothering each other with what crap we dealt with in the day. We know we all dealt with crap. This is just our time to just sit with each other. If it was important news, obviously we would discuss it. So yeah, I kind of create this force field around me, and I would never even notice Musk eating bad or poorly, because that's just Musk. Just like we don't notice his smell, it's just who he is. Unless someone else brings it up. I don't even. We don't really notice it, but I do when there's a slight lull in the eating. Probably when Father gets done with his stew, I ask him over a chicken wing. So, Father, what did the mayor say?
He wanted to talk to me about the festival, things that he arranged. He wanted to be a surprise, but when he saw me, he thought better of it and decided to ask me what I thought of things and if I was all right with them and those type of things.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Is there any surprises that we should be prepared for?
Is there any surprises we should arrange?
No. They tend to they want to have a great feast, lots of food, and they're just having. They wish me to say a few words, and they're. He kind of looks at his stew and kind of lifts some bit up with a spoon and kind of drops it off the spoon, and he looks uncomfortable, and he says, apparently they made a statue for me.
Well, that seems fitting. Where are they going to put it?
To Market Square.
That's a perfect spot. I hope they used a younger image of you.
Apparently they have. So, well, we'll see.
I wonder how much that's gonna cost. Could be that pretty soon they might want to spend that cash on some steel. Might have talked to him about that, Paul. Might have talked to him about what's coming.
What do you mean, what's coming?
Ain't it obvious? If you walk around town and you look at the fucking giant slits on the walls. Ain't nothing going on here right now keeping away no goblins.
I kind of look around. I kind of realize I kind of didn't muffle my voice down when I said that. I kind of mentioned goblins out loud. Kind of look around and like,
In case. Just in case. Just in case.
Well, luckily we're on the outskirts to put them down. And people don't have to worry about any goblins in the area.
Perhaps we should postpone that topic for later. And as Ray, she picks up her venison by her hands as well. And of course, unlike Musk, there's not the the savagery of the eating. Hers is a little bit more of a controlled bite as well, but it does show off her canines that she has, and a little bit more of that wild nature of the wood elf heritage as she eats in smaller controlled bites, but still picks it up by the hand and stuff.
Musk's
Looks around.
Yeah, Musk's facial hair has pretty much the dried layers of multiple last meals that he's had, unwashed on his face. So yeah, he's like kid with ice cream, kind of, with that food.
Well, it's been a long day. I think I'll retire for the night, and it's going to be a long day tomorrow. Let us all try to. He kind of leans forward and lowers his voice. Let us all try to get through this with a little effort. I'm sure we'll make these people feel happy about everything. He stands up and says, "Thank you all for being here. It means a lot to me." He then walks away, and you all four notice that he looks tired. He just walks up and looks at Linda and says, "Thank you, Linda. The meal was wonderful. I have some books to read, and I'll be up in my room. I don't require anything else." Of course, Roland. It's a pleasure always.
When Roland leaves, I'll kind of like look after him, and when he's kind of shuffled off, I'll kind of turn my head, gaze back to the rest of my siblings at the table, and I have this easily readable kind of expression on my face that I've acknowledged his age, and and the seriousness of the predicament. Musk thinks he's being a realist by being an extremely pessimistic about the future regarding the goblins. So he has that kind of face of looking at the father and then kind of realization of the depths of crap that are about to rain on us in the near future, kind of, and then turning back to
I sort of sit down, so obviously I immediately stood up when father stood up, to say bye as he left. I sit back down and I kind of look over at Musk, who looks back and starts eating. I'm like, really? Steal Wait, you're just gonna just throw this stuff out? You can't just give him 1 day of peace? You don't think he's worried about all this going on? Shit. We do those kind of conversations for us, and I kind of like encompass the whole table. Now that we have his permission, we can get as many ears as we need.
Whatever.
I take that as an agreement because that's just how I am. And I nod and I kind of sit back and sip at the whiskey and then put it down and then drink the water that I have. That's much better.
All right.
Ray
Good.
continues to kind of chew the food as she listens back and forth to you two going at it, and she kind of actually finishes hers very quickly, as a matter of fact, and she puts that bone down, and a bit of a sylvan prayer comes out from her lips, thanking the animal that has been slaughtered for the food, wishing its spirit on well, and she looks to the other two. I will retire to my room as well. I require some quiet. And then she kind of like gets up, and then like as she gets up, she's this very flat tone kind of escapes her lips as she gets up and goes, to escape the hordes of horny men about.
I just start laughing because I don't understand. I'm like, what? What are you talking about?
And she just walks. She just keeps walking, and visibly, her ears are like this, and now they're lower now. They've gotten extendedly lower as she just walks, and you would think that her posture is that of an old man as she kind of slightly slouches and continues to move forward into her room.
And I suppose people are staring at her as she walks away. Then it like, oh right, I get it now. Click.
Seeing as Kyle has to head off soon, I'd say let's say you guys enjoy your evening here at the tavern and that sort of stuff. Musk, you might want to go outside if or not, just whatever you.
What about Roche? He's still unmentioned.
I myself, I'm going to head up to my bedroom. I'm also going to stare at Lily as I pass by and up the stairs.
Well, she'll probably wink at you as you walk by, and she kind of mouths to you because it's too busy for her to come close to like see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
As you head upstairs and go and rest.
And Rose will encounter Ray, and as that happens, she sees that exchange, and then she looks to you, Rose, looks right back to her, and then more of this. She thinks to herself, and the ears that were perking up as she's about to have quiet now perk back down again. And a long sigh escapes her lips as she just kind of walks on up, and now there's like this angsty teen side kind of erupting as she just moves past you with the swiftness.
She's gonna look at you very confused and then just be like, well, sorry. And then head to his room.
All right, excellent. So we'll call it quits here, and we'll pick it up next time. Thanks a lot, you guys, for being here, and we'll talk to each other later. And I'll stop the broadcast.